Am I the asshole for telling my biological sisters I don't want to meet our bio parents? I, 30 female, am a Chinese woman who was adopted from mainland China when I was a baby and grew up in the UK. I grew curious of my roots and if I had any family out there, so I took a 23andMe test. I found 4 full sisters through this test. I'm the oldest. My sisters are 29, 28, 24, and 20. The 3 middle sisters are in America, and the youngest is in Germany. We've kept in contact via the internet, and have even met in person twice before COVID started. I have 2 brothers I grew up with, who are my parents' biological sons, and as far as I'm concerned, they and my parents are my true family. But I have grown close to my biological sisters, as we understand each other a lot. What my parents know of my birth story is that I was found in an alleyway in a box. My sisters were found relatively the same way from what they know, though they were left outside of buildings and public areas, so I'm a bit more bitter than they are about how we were abandoned, as I was left out of the way where I could have been missed. We recently got contacted by a new family member found by the test, an 18-year-old full brother who lives in France with our bio parents. Apparently, they moved there later in life. My biological sisters are excited by this and eager to meet them. They want the 5 of us to fly out together to meet our brother and family. I've told them that I won't stop them, but I have no interest in meeting the couple who clearly kept trying to have a boy and abandoned 5 daughters we know of, reminding them there could be more that we don't know about who haven't used 23andMe. They feel I'm being unreasonable in this, and I should at least go meet our brother. I'm fine with meeting him one day, but not with them there, and he and I have been exchanging emails for now. I know they want the 5 of us to go out as a united front in this, and me not wanting to go is disheartening for them, but I honestly feel bitter in regards to this whole situation. In the comments, Third Try is the Charm says, "Not the asshole. They want to go, you do not. That's fine on both sides. They have no business pushing you to go meet bio family." Cellula says, "Not the asshole. That is a very personal trauma for you, and it's especially worse for you as the one who was the oldest and was the closest to not having a life at all because of their abandonment. I hope you and your brother form as strong a bond as you and your sisters have. It isn't his fault your parents did this, and I hope they all come to understand your feelings and stop pushing it." OP replies, "It was a bit tough to work up the ability to exchange emails with him. After all, he is the goal they were clearly aiming for that resulted in myself and my bio sisters being abandoned. That being said, I reminded myself that he's really just a kid and none of this was his fault." The Bakercist says, "Not the asshole. I too am an abandoned person who was abandoned at birth, outside of a bodega in the bad part of town. I also took a DNA test and ended up meeting my biological family, and I regret it so very, very much. Meeting my siblings and birth parents sickened me so much that I felt as though I'll never get my mind back to where it used to be, and I had the unfortunate pleasure of being filmed for TV meeting them. It sucked finding out that I have an older brother with the same birthday as me, only he got to have a birthday party and I got left outside in the cold. Please don't ever think that you're an asshole for not wanting to meet your bio parents. You're not. Sometimes it's a lot worse than not knowing." OP says, "I'm so sorry. The idea of being filmed for that, it makes me want to throw up. I'm sorry you had to put up with that. I can imagine why that would suck finding out your older brother had the same birthday as you. I was left in the alley in winter. I'm not sure my exact birthday. We have a rough estimate, but nothing more. If you ever want to talk to someone who is similar in this, feel free to hit me up." Toe Select says, "Sorry to ask, but these things just make my blood boil. Did they seem at least remorseful? Did they understand how evil what they did to you was? From what you're saying, I guess not, and I guess you no longer talk to them." OP says, "I'm not the one who met their parents. You'd likely get a reply if you replied to them. Easy mistake to make on who you reply to. Thank you, and I'm so sorry you went through this as a baby. I can only imagine the pain. I hope you are happy and feel loved and valued by your real family." I'm gonna guess that this is a long line of the ramifications of the one-child policy in China. I myself have met someone quite a long time ago that lived as a student in our house that was a child that was not affected by it, but her sister, or her potential sister, was affected by the one-child policy in China. And that being no fault of her parents. The parents wanted to keep the sister. That's all I'll say. If you don't want to meet them in person and you don't want to be there for this big family reunion, you shouldn't go. You shouldn't be there. That's not a healthy environment. And much like that commenter who had it filmed, yeah, that would be a gut punch. That would be a big psychological takedown. I get where you're coming from. That's not a fun thing to have to deal with, especially given, you could have died in that alleyway. It's a miracle that you were even found, especially in the Chinese winter. That is brutal. Not the asshole at all, and, don't go if you don't want to. And now, on to the update. After some pushing from my bio sisters over getting in contact with our bio parents, as while I don't want to fly out to meet them with my sisters, they still want to talk to me. I finally consented to having a Zoom call with our bio parents, as that was the most I could handle. I'll be honest, it was like a punch in the gut. I look so much like our bio mother that it was a little startling. So I found out some answers to some important questions. Firstly, why were we abandoned? As many of you can guess, it was to do with the one-child policy, and they wanted a son, but there was additional internal pressure to this. My paternal grandparents had told them that if they kept a daughter, they would be cut off and not have a penny of the family money. It's why I was abandoned so differently from my sisters. It was my paternal grandmother who took me out to abandon. My bio parents always assumed that I had died with how she left me, so they took over the abandonment of my sisters, which is why they were left in better places. Was there any other children? Yes. A boy who would be 22 right now had everything went to plan. They had been going to keep him, but apparently something was wrong about him. I don't know what, and they didn't expand on that, but apparently my paternal grandfather forced them to give him up as he was ashamed. Why did they move to France? After our youngest brother was born, they finally gained financial independence from my paternal grandparents and were able to move. They were the ones that asked their son to take the test, hoping to find their other children. Where does this leave us? They were so happy to talk to me and kept going on and on about how now they have most of their children back and could have it all. I cut them off there and told them they didn't have us back. I expressed sympathy for what they've been put through by the paternal grandparents, but I pointed out that they chose money over me and over all of us, and how they could have chosen to simply keep me or any of the others and make their own way in life, but they hadn't. I thanked them for the call, but I told them that I had a family already and had no further interest in speaking with them, that I'd continue to be in contact with my bio brother, but this was all they would get. They tried to beg me to stay on the call, but I left, and I admit I had a little bit of a sob afterwards. My adoptive brothers ended up taking me out to drink afterwards, and the three of us got hammered while I vented and cried, but it helped me work through things a lot. So thanks everyone. I just figured that you all deserved an update. In the comments, Mum Loves Monsters says, I really hope that the conversation with them gave you some kind of closure. Thank you for sharing this update with us. Yes, at least she got a few questions answered. It seems like it would be better to know than to always wonder. Doesn't exactly make it easier, but perhaps provides some closure. I really hate the one-child policy. It sucks for so many people, especially girls, because they're almost always treated horribly or given up and treated worse. I know some families would rather leave to another country than to have to pick and choose a child. If you choose not to be involved with your bio parents, then I feel it's for the best, because at the end of the day, they literally did choose money over you, and what would have happened if you were never found? And also, kept choosing to have children they abandoned until they got the right one. They can feel bad all they want. Culture, pressure, etc. I sympathize, but they did this with all of the daughters and one brother who wasn't right. Exactly. All because they want the perfect child. When I first watched the documentary about the one-child rule, my heart broke seeing how the girls they gave up were treated. So many cultures treat girls like they're only good for home care and birthing kids. I grew up in a household where I was supposed to take care of everyone, despite being a child myself. I have a daughter now, and I refuse to treat her the way that I was. And now on to the latest update. Hello everyone. I never expected to return to this throwaway account, but here I am. A little refresher. Myself and all 4 biological sisters were abandoned due to the one-child policy and found each other later in life, as well as our biological parents and a younger brother. Due to the way that I was abandoned, I had no interest in getting to know them, but I agreed to a single Zoom call to get some answers. It has come to my attention that my youngest bio sister, who is 22 and lives in Germany, has been in contact with our bio parents after the initial meeting, and they offered her quite a bit of comfort after her long-term boyfriend cheated on her, and that relationship fell apart. She's now revealed to us that she plans to go to Guangzhou in the near future to meet a man who our bio parents wish her to meet, as he's supposedly the son of their friend, and our bio parents are apparently paying for this entire trip for her. Our sisters are a bit hesitant about this, but no one wants to tell her that it's a stupid idea, as they feel she's a grown woman and that it's up to her. I tried to express concern, but she would not hear it. Sold on the dreamy idea of meeting a handsome man from the country of our birth. I'm worried about her and how badly this can go wrong. I also have my doubts about the validity of this situation, as something seems incredibly off about it. So I reached out to her adoptive grandparents to let them know of her plans and my concerns about this whole situation. They were horrified by this, as they had no idea, and their immediate concerns were that this was a potentially dangerous situation, and they assured me that they would handle this. She has since reached out demanding to know why I got in contact with her grandparents, as it was not my place, and that she can make these decisions for herself. I told her that she may want to wear rose-tinted glasses when it comes to our biological parents, but I'm not going to let her fly across the world to a likely dangerous situation to meet a man that she's never even spoken to before, which she told me if he was a creep, she'd at least get a free holiday out of it. That's insane. We ended up arguing quite a bit over it, with some heated words being exchanged. Our bio sisters have told me that I shouldn't have gone behind her back like that, and if it was a mistake, she needed to learn from it herself. But I worry that she may not have had the chance to learn from it if it was a mistake. Meanwhile, my adoptive brothers have expressed relief that I'm not that much of an idiot, or else they would have locked me in my room until that idea had left my head. I do think they needed her plans for her own safety if nothing else, but maybe I'm an asshole and could have handled it better. Was I wrong to go behind her back like this? In the comments, bfan72 says, not the arsehole. There is now a shortage of women in China. Your bio parents will use emotional manipulation to get her to marry him. She's going to want your bio parents' approval if she goes there. You absolutely did the correct thing. Not the arsehole. It's not a free holiday because she'll never be allowed to go back home. My fear is that she would be kidnapped. I doubt the government would put too many resources into fighting her. I wouldn't want my sister to step foot in China due to this fear. Wouldn't be surprised if the bios have or intend to collect a bride price for younger sister. Nowadays, the expectations for a girl's parents are a matrimonial home, a car, and bride price to the girl's parents in return for raising her. 22 is prime marriageable age. Said bride price will then be used to fund younger brother's matrimonial home, car, and bride price to his in-laws. If the match succeeds, the man can then travel back to Germany with the younger sister and get a job. The Chinese economy is in the doldrums right now, Peppermint Valet says. OP is unimaginably strong. Also, the phrase took over the abandonment is wild. Yeah, I skipped over that one. Hey, Mom, can you take over the abandonment here real quick? Cheers for that one. Like, what? Man, it just seems like nightmare after nightmare, doesn't it? Not to, infantilize people or anything, but 22, she still doesn't understand what she's getting herself into. She doesn't understand the world enough. I recommend she does a bit more research into the entire history of the one-child policy, the ramifications that it's had in this modern age on the dating market over there, and look into some nightmare stories of how these things have gone wrong over there. I'm with the commenters. To me, it sounds like she's setting herself up to get kidnapped, go missing, never be heard from again. She has no guarantees that it's going to go well. She doesn't know this guy. She doesn't know anything about what she's doing by the sounds of it. I'm on OP's side. It's an unfortunate situation too, because it's a lose-lose either way for OP when it comes to maintaining that relationship with her bio sister and potentially the rest of the bio sisters. You get involved, you piss her off because she thinks that you shouldn't get involved in situations like this. She doesn't get kidnapped, all goes back to normal, and she doesn't go to China for this reason. You've now effectively burnt a bridge with her and potentially others that side with her. That sucks. Or the other way around, you don't get involved, you don't say anything, she goes to China, she gets kidnapped. That's bad too. Not to say China bad. I don't think China bad. You could go to any country and get kidnapped. The situation itself is so shady. She could be Australian and be going to America. I'd still say, don't do that. You don't know anything about what you're doing over there. You might get kidnapped. Are you really gonna take that risk? Anyway, I think OP's not the asshole here. I side with her. I think that was a really stupid thing for the 22-year-old to agree with and just go along with, knowing her parents had already abandoned her. Why does she trust them like that? Come on. Use your thinking brain. Before I get into this story, doesn't have an update, so just be warned. Our next post is by user AdorableCost806, and it's titled, Am I the asshole for bringing a much older guy to Easter dinner after my dad left my bio mum for someone closer to my age? I, 18 female, moved out at 15 when I got into a boarding school abroad. When I was 12, my dad, 45 male, cheated on my mum, 43 female, with a woman, 26 female, who was 20 at the time. They ended up divorcing, and he's been with her ever since. She's only a few years older than me, and for the past few years, she's been at every family holiday. She's clearly only after his money, but he's too stupid and stubborn to understand. This year, for Easter, I flew back home and asked a friend of mine, 38 male, to come with me and pretend to be my boyfriend for just a few days at my home. After dinner, my dad pulled me aside and told me that he felt uncomfortable with the situation. I told him that I didn't do anything wrong, and that after him, love has no age. Love is blind. He told me that I ruined everyone's Easter by being selfish and bringing someone his age to dinner. I flew back to school, but now I'm getting messages from a few relatives saying I should apologize to my dad and break up with my boyfriend. I haven't responded. I don't think I'm in the wrong because he's made my life uncomfortable since the moment he cheated on my mum. Am I the asshole? In the comments, Crafty Reed says, very rich of OP's dad saying he's uncomfortable when he cheated first. When will they learn? Not the asshole. The double standards really are the cherry on top of it. My daughter can't date an older man, but someone else's daughter can. He had no such issues, like what her family might think when he cheated with her and divorced for her. I would message all those people back asking, why is an age gap okay for dad, but with me it's a problem? If I told you guys he's married, would it be okay? I was talking with stepmom, and she was telling me how great it was being with an older guy. And she told me all the great ideas she had on what to spend her inheritance on when he dies. Back up to the post, there's an edit. Seems like many think that this is a lie, and I would too, but I met my friend in a book club when I moved to the US. I'm from Europe, and he's been a great father figure to me, to be honest. When I had no friends there, he would buy me dinner and actually spend time with me, and he's recently divorced from his high school sweetheart, so he would have spent Easter alone anyway. Therefore, I decided to take him with and show him around. For reference, I didn't say half of the bad things my dad did or the whole story. It would have been too long, but trust me, cheating isn't the only thing that he did. I know this is immature, people. I know it's extremely immature of me, but I wanted to show him how it feels. Thanks a lot for the advice, everyone. I'll update for Christmas, lol. I'm with OP on this one. There is an obvious double standard here, and they would rather take it out on OP than they would on this man-child, who is touting his 26-year-old around the entire family. But that's cool. That's really cool. It's fine when he does it. It's a problem when OP does it. And yeah, I agree. Maybe those other family members should take the lead and break up with their partners and divorce their lovely spouses if OP is to be expected to break up with their lovely partner. How dare they come after me and not after him? I'm with you on that one, OP. Screw them. I will point out, your relationship with that much older man, I guess just the friendship itself, to me, it feels a bit weird, an 18-year-old being so close with a 38-year-old, especially if you had met him when you're like 15 or 16. Yes, I understand people can have friends. People are allowed to have friends. It's just weird. Just saying, it's a bit weird. Anyone else notice that? It's a bit weird to me. This whole story's weird. The dad's weird. You're a little weird, OP. He's a bit weird. Life is funny sometimes, huh? My ex-partner's new girlfriend is trying to play house with my child. My ex-boyfriend is James. James and I dated for 3 years between the spring of 2014 and the end of winter 2017. Since my daughter is obviously older than 3, it's clear that she is not biologically James's. Her father was not someone who wanted to be involved with her and signed away all rights when she was born, so he is not involved in the picture. James and I were originally friends, which grew into a relationship when my daughter was around the age of 1. As my daughter grew a little bit older, she saw James as a de facto parent, a role that he happily stepped up to. She knows that he isn't daddy, but had the strongest bond with him of anyone outside of the biological family. Our relationship finished owing to a difference in personal timelines. James wanted to buy a house together. We had lived together in the last year, but we each still had our own places and moved to another city for work, while I was happy where I was located. It became a self-imposed ultimatum, and while James didn't actually move, it was clear that our relationship was over. We stayed friends, and he changed from de facto dad to fun Uncle James to my daughter. We've both made sure that she was stable about the situation, something that she clearly seems to be. As I do with other friends, my daughter and I will occasionally visit James, who sometimes has my daughter without me there for a couple of hours at a time if I have to run errands or something similar. I have no reason at all to worry about James with my daughter, who is always all smiles and 5 more minutes when I get back. About 6 months ago, James started dating Tracy. She is someone that he works with who I actually first met while we were dating. Their relationship itself isn't the issue. However, there have been instances that have caused concern in the past few months. The first was when James invited me and my daughter around for a playdate with James's nephew, who he was babysitting. Tracy was there too, which I expected. However, when we arrived and James greeted my daughter with a hug, she commented on how she looked like her daddy, meaning James. Both James and I said that my daughter wasn't James's child, which is something James later said had come up in conversation between them before. She only remarked that she meant that they had a strong father-daughter bond, which I thought odd, but ignored. There have been a couple of other times when I have seen Tracy either out and about or at planned events when she has said that my daughter really likes spending time with James, which I obviously know, though I just took it as awkward exes chat. The reason that I'm posting is about what happened a couple of days ago. Again, James was babysitting his nephew and had invited myself and my daughter to the park for an afternoon. We get there and everything is fine until my phone rings and I'm told that there's an emergency in the office that I have to sort out because X, Y, and Z aren't picking up their phone. I mentioned this, and Tracy and James offer to look after my daughter and stay in the park while I rush over to the office, which is only a 5-minute drive, to sort out the problem. I'm gone for about half an hour overall. The issue wasn't really an issue, as it never is, and when I get back, everyone is where I left them and all happy. We start getting ready to go home when Tracy mentions to me that someone she knew, an amateur photographer, happened to be in the park taking pictures of the landscape and had taken a couple of shots of the group, my daughter included, and that she would send them over to me because they were apparently really sweet. I was a bit perturbed by someone apparently just coming over and photographing my child, but thought glass half full, and decided that it was only a nice gesture. A couple hours later, Tracy sends me over the solo pictures of my daughter. She says that she didn't give her friend permission to use any of the solo pictures of my daughter on her professional page, but the ones of the scenery and of James's nephew were on there, and if I wanted to give consent, then my daughters could be on there too. They were actually very cute, and I looked on the photographer's page to see the rest from the day. There were some sweet candids of the nephew and some nice couple shots of James and Tracy, but the last picture on there was a family-style portrait of everyone, my daughter included. The caption said something like, "The James surname, Tracy surnames, know how to have fun." I immediately messaged the page asking for the picture to be taken down, as it had my daughter in it without my permission. They replied, apologizing for the issue, saying that Tracy had said that the little girl was James's and that he gave his consent. I then messaged James, asking him to not give consent for anything involving my daughter, and to remind Tracy yet again that he is not my daughter's father. He replied saying he never gave his consent for any of the group pictures to be on there, and he resented the accusation. I messaged Tracy later on, making it clear that I didn't want my daughter to be used in any kind of situation where the facts were not clear. And no, James was not her father. I did not get a reply. I don't know where to go from here. I don't want to be that ex-girlfriend who tries to get her ex to sneak around behind his girlfriend's back for him to see my daughter. But at the same time, he's done nothing to stop Tracy from acting out this charade of my daughter being James's child, and therefore hers. If I just cut them both out, then my daughter will be confused, though I know she'll bounce back. I know that James will be hurt too, but I need to put mine and my daughter's feelings before that. It's just getting to me that we were able to be fine and stable through our whole breakup, yet a completely unavoidable situation is what will finish this off. Should I just move on without James and Tracy in my and my daughter's lives? Am I simply overreacting and becoming that ex regardless? In the comments, I am not a troll today says, "This seems super simple to me. Don't leave your kid alone with people who want to pretend that she is theirs. Let her visit for sure, but with you there too. Done deal. If they offer to be alone with her again, decline. If they push for a reason why, tell them why." The confusing part is it's like OP wants James to be a fill-in dad, but he can't make any decisions. The whole thing is a bit weird. I would say cut both of them off, as it will only get more confusing. It's only going to get more awkward and uncomfortable moving forward as your daughter ages, especially when you get a new partner. Best bet is to cut them off now and move on. Your daughter is young and will be fine without them in her life. I think James choosing to keep someone like Tracy around does say a lot about his character and how stable a role model he may be in 5, 10, or 15 years. The influence his partners have on OP's daughter may only increase as she gets closer to puberty and idolizes women she aspires to be like. One might think, but it's only an hour or two. But kids are very impressionable, especially in a single-parent household. I really do think it's good to keep those kinds of comments and that advice in mind. Because what environment do you want to raise your child in? What role models that she's exposed to are acceptable for her to be molded and shaped by? Is your ex and his very weirdly attached girlfriend really like a good example for her? You're having a back and forth with them over something that is very clearly their fault, and they are not owning up to it, and they're ghosting you for it. Is this dynamic genuinely ever going to improve? You lose nothing by cutting them off. It's not like your daughter is old enough to really look back and remember all of this. That'll be a blip in the entire expanse of her life. But if she gets to puberty and starts getting molded by these people, she probably will blame you for showing her that this kind of behavior and these people are okay to keep in your life and keep being influenced by. I think not cutting them off would be a huge disservice to your daughter personally. And now, onto the update. So I got a lot more interest in my post than I expected. While some were either end of the spectrum, the majority seemed to suggest that James was too involved in my daughter's life. I had a long think about why I had pursued this route. To clarify to some, I didn't force James into this position. He was happy to maintain a relationship with my daughter, given that he had been in her life for several years. The comments concerning where my daughter would be as and when James settled down and got married and had kids of his own also made me think. This situation was definitely one of convenience, especially given the fact that our relationship ended since James wanted to move away and I did not. I definitely had no plans to challenge any of James's life choices, nor did I ever expect him to prioritize myself and my daughter over anything else. Something I seemed not to convey clearly in my original post was that James really is just a friend and has been for the past year to me. And so because of that, I don't use him for anything that a parent would do. On the "he's not a babysitter/daycare" posts especially, he sees her maybe once every 6 weeks, and since our relationship ended, he's been alone with her 3 times at most. So this is not me using our former relationship as a tool for free childcare. He asks to see my daughter. I don't make him make time for her. As a final clarifying point, this has never been a "I want him so you can't have him" situation. Our time together will always be cherished, but I do not want to pursue a romantic relationship with James again, and he does not with me. On to the update. After reading the comments to my post and thinking over the issues, I decided to send both James and Tracy messages apologizing for my reaction and my heat-of-the-moment accusations the day after I made the post. James responded saying that it was water under the bridge and he would have been annoyed too in the situation. Tracy's response was different. All she sent was a message saying, "I know he is daughter's father." I assured her that James was not my child's dad, and even went as far as to apologize if I had seemed off with her or if my current relationship with James was an issue. She asked if we could meet up and talk, which I agreed to. We met for coffee, and she said that she had been off with me, but not because of my relationship with James. She said that last year she had found out that she was infertile, and while James knew and was supportive, seeing him with my little girl, who she knew he helped raise for several years, got to her, which resulted in comments about him as daddy. She then said that the whole photographer situation was set up. She had asked her friend who lived near to the park to come and take some pictures of her, James, and the children as soon as it was clear that I was going to have to leave. She told James the same thing she told me about the friend happening to be in the park and wanting some portfolio shots, but told the friend out of James's earshot that I was totally fine with the pictures happening and that James was my daughter's father, so she has an on-site parent regardless. She was the one who suggested the family portrait shot. She told the friend to stick that one online, but that the individual ones of my daughter needed to go through me first. She didn't think that I would be interested in looking at the other photos and thought that I wouldn't see it. She said that having a picture of her, her partner, a little boy, and a little girl was enough to keep her going since her medical news was hitting her hard. Tracy ended by saying that since James is the only father that my daughter has ever known, she is therefore the closest thing that she will ever have to a child with him. I didn't quite know how to respond. After reading many comments on my post saying that I was a jealous harpy and that Tracy was an innocent bystander, or even calmer versions of that mindset, I was surprised that my actual suspicions were actually correct somewhat. This was not the reasoning that I ever thought was behind this, though. I thanked her for her honesty and asked if she was talking to anyone else about this. She said she wasn't, but she knew she should be. She also said that James knew nothing of the extent of which she was feeling, other than sometimes she was a little bit blue. We spent a while searching online for local mental health specialists and left it with her promising to make an appointment and to talk to James. After getting home, I contacted James to say that I believed that there needed to be some distance established between him and my daughter to benefit everyone involved in the situation. He said he agreed, and that he would always be there for my daughter if she needed him. I asked my daughter that evening, more out of curiosity, as to how she views James, and all she said was, "James is nephew's uncle." So I'm taking that to mean that she is by no means dependent on him at the very least. I don't know if this is the end of this, and I'm sure I will get some criticism for not cutting out James altogether, or for even limiting the existing contact, but I believe this will benefit everyone, including Tracy, in the long run. Thank you again for everyone's advice. In the comments, Travelbug says, I think everyone here acted super maturely, and at least a lot of the loose ends have been tied off because of communication. Good on you for all being mature adults here, OP. It doesn't happen as often as it should. I mean, I wouldn't say that Tracy acted super maturely exactly, but I commend her for eventually communicating what was going on with her. That is mature of her. Tracy's manipulation of the photography session and having it posted online was terrifying. Also, hyphenated names? Already? Tracy is bold. I do hope she can let go of the idea of your daughter being hers by extension of James, and that she gets the help that she needs. But definitely stay away, because I'm getting creepy walk into a hospital and kidnap a baby vibes from her. 24-year-old girlfriend wanting a family photo up with hyphenated last names when none are their actual kids? She said James didn't know the full extent of her struggles with the infertility news. I would find it weird. I'm sorry, but the length to which Tracy arranged for a family photo behind everyone's back of a kid that was neither hers nor her boyfriend's is just really weird, even after hearing her reasons why. As someone in a marriage where we cannot have kids, I get the sadness, I really do. I've been to therapy about it, but I've never ever dreamed of playing pretend with someone else's child. Nope. I would not buy that Tracy actually told James what was up, and I'd suspect she only told OP what she did in order to get sympathy or push her away from James. Even if she did, her behavior up to that point has been so invasive and disturbing that I still wouldn't trust her as far as I could throw her. Also, the people thinking leaving your kid with someone for an hour means you're using them as a stand-in for a parent? That's not how that works. This update just reinforces my desire for you, OP, to get the hell away from those two. I commend her. I genuinely do commend her for being so open and honest about her reasoning for why she did things. I really do feel like people never do that because of an ego thing, because they're scared that others will interpret the truth of the situation as very much unhinged and like that person is a bit crazy. I get it. I get why people are not open and honest like that, because you're going to get reactions like people in the comments here where they're like, she is the level of crazy where she will walk in to a hospital, abduct the baby, and just walk straight on out. I can see where she is coming from. I can understand going through that grief of not being able to have a child of her own, but you don't do this in response to it. This is not the way that you deal with that grief. Sorry, Tracy, but this is unhinged. And her response to OP's discomfort once OP found out about all of this, that initial response to it, that was also unhinged. That is unacceptable. You can deal with your grief in healthier ways that do not come across as you being insane in the membrane. I do hope that OP reads the comments, gets a reality, gets a vibe check from it all, and takes the appropriate steps to disconnect her and her child from her ex and whoever her ex is attached to. I just don't think that can ever end well, especially now that we have a glimpse into the mindset of who he is dating. It just cannot end well. Thank you for the story, OP. I hope you continue to do right by your child. Our next post is by user Strawberry Carriage, and it's titled, My female 21, boyfriend male 24, opened our relationship. Now that I've finally found someone, he wants to close it. I come from a small town where everyone knows each other. I was raised in a very strict Catholic household. I had a pretty sheltered life growing up. No dating, no parties, none of that stuff. So when I moved to the city for college, it was a whole new world for me, and I had total freedom. That's when I met my boyfriend. He's a little older, and honestly, the most amazing person I had ever met. He taught me so much about life and love, and made everything feel exciting. I was completely over the moon when we became a couple. We've been together for 3.5 years now. I had so many firsts with him. Naturally, I assumed we would get married. He was my one and only. Then, about 8 months ago, he sat me down and told me he felt like our relationship was losing its spark. I was shocked because I thought that we were doing really good. For a second, I thought he was about to break up with me, but instead, he said we should open up the relationship and explore polyamory. He said it's more normal now, and that it could actually help bring us closer. I was hurt. Like, really hurt. I couldn't believe he'd even ask me that. But I loved him too much. He's my first love. I didn't want to lose him, so I said yes. He made some rules, like no bringing other people into our beds, we live separately anyway, and to keep things away from places we would usually go. But honestly, I didn't care about the rules. I couldn't even imagine being with someone else. I only wanted him. But that first month, things did not get better. I saw him less and less. He was always busy. I checked his social media and saw he started hanging out with some girl. She posted him all the time. I was burning with jealousy, but I didn't say anything. When I did see him, he was sweet like always, but it started to feel like he was just trying to make up for not being around. I felt like I was the one doing all of the work, planning stuff, texting first, chasing after him, holding on so tight while he felt far away. Then a few months ago, we were supposed to see a movie together, but he bailed on me last minute. I went anyway. While I was there, I ran into one of my friends, and she was with her older brother. We ended up watching the film together. It was Nosferatu, if you're wondering. And afterward, we were grabbing some drinks, and I started noticing how attractive and funny he was. I caught him looking at me a certain way too, like maybe he felt something too. I didn't pursue anything though, as this was all so new to me. Liking someone else? That felt so weird. I wasn't used to anyone but my boyfriend. He eventually found me on Instagram, and we started talking. I told him about the open relationship and being poly, and he was super chill about it. He said he was happy to spend time with me without worrying about cheating. We started hanging out more, and honestly, I didn't feel so alone anymore. I didn't feel like I had to beg someone for love. Even the little time that I spent with my boyfriend started to feel enough, because my heart didn't feel so empty anymore. One day, after we'd become close friends, he just kissed me on the lips, and it hit me that I had feelings for him. Sexual ones. We ended up hooking up not long after. It was amazing. I felt wanted, cherished. He was so gentle, so generous. I couldn't get enough of him. It felt like he balanced me out in a way that I didn't know I needed. I finally understood what being poly could really mean, loving more than one person in a way that felt real and full. I grew very attracted. We even joined the gym together and started working out. He's a busy guy, but always made time for me. Always invited me into his world and his hobbies. I felt special and giddy. Then this week, my boyfriend comes to me and says, "I think we should close the relationship and focus on each other." I was confused. I asked him, why? Things are going really good for us. And he said, it's time to think about the future and building something serious. Then he brought up religion. You're Catholic, you should understand. If you want this to last, it has to be just the two of us. When I hesitated, he started guilt-tripping me, like I was doing something wrong, like I wasn't thinking about us. I love him, I really do, but now I feel confused. I feel upset. I didn't ask for any of this. He opened the door, and I just followed because I loved him. And now that I found a little peace, a little joy, he wants to shut it all down. It feels unfair. I don't know what to do. Here for advice and support. I feel so depressed about this issue. In the comments, Truth Fairy says, the other girl dumped him. Check her socials. I'm sure he's disappeared off of them. You should close the relationship with the new guy. He sounds awesome. OP says, looking back now, she hasn't been posting him this month. Mrs. Sem84 says, he was already cheating on you with her. He asked for an open relationship so he wouldn't be the bad guy when he inevitably got caught. She's probably dumped him, and that's the reason for the sudden change. You finally being happy with the arrangement and having fun of your own is also likely another reason. He didn't want or expect you to actually date others. He just wanted an out to do it himself. He likely assumed that as a Catholic, you wouldn't be comfortable doing it yourself, so he'd be the only one having his cake and eating it. Dump the idiot. Dude just wanted to sleep with other women. He didn't want you to sleep with other men. All this. And he is gaslighting and guilt-tripping her so that she will close the relationship because he got what he wanted, and his other woman probably already dropped him after finding out about the OP. OP, he's just trying to have his cake and eat it too. He more than likely already slept with that woman even before asking to open the relationship. That's what cheaters do. From what I've seen, people who are truly polyamorous do not act like this. They are open and honest with potential partners before they start dating, not years into it. He just wanted to be able to cheat and keep you on the back burner. That's all. I would dump his ass so fast he would get whiplash. I'm always just so shocked that we get so many stories about the exact same situation like this over and over again. I think these people need to start reading a few more Reddit stories and see that, before agreeing to opening up your relationship, most of the time, 99% of the time, it ends like this, where the man has finished his fun and he gets pissed off that the woman finds someone better. And that is just going to happen every time. So either break up now or don't open the relationship. It's just never a good idea, but these people always prey on the fact that the person they are dating is ignorant to these things and trusts them wholeheartedly. They are bad people for doing that. And now, onto the update. Thank you to everyone who offered advice, clarity, and support. I wanted to share where things stand now after having some difficult conversations. I spoke to my boyfriend and told him that I don't want to close the relationship. I've grown to really enjoy dating the other guy, and it's not something that I agreed to just experiment. I told him that it should be a joint decision, that you can't just open and close a relationship as you please, especially when someone else's feelings are involved. I also told him that I was incredibly disappointed that he brought up my faith, knowing how much trauma and guilt I've carried from my religious upbringing and how that felt manipulative and unfair. He didn't respond to my comments about religion, but instead said, "If you want a future with me, this needs to end or we are done." I told him, "Then it's done." He got heated and said that I was throwing away nearly 4 years of our relationship for a guy that I've only been seeing for a few months, and tried to make me feel guilty. But I reminded him that he was the one who lost the spark, who wanted to sleep with other women, and who opened the relationship in the first place, not me. I just agreed because I loved him and hoped he would realize I'm the only one for him. I didn't ask for this. After some time, he calmed down. We had a long, emotional conversation. He cried, he apologized. He told me that he should have ended things instead of trying to fix our relationship with polyamory. He admitted he still loves me and that seeing me happy with someone else made him feel jealous, even though he knew that he had no right to be. He said he probably deserves the pain, and he respects my decision to end it. We hugged and agreed that even though our relationship is open, the first 2 years were beautiful. We will always have a place in each other's hearts, even though this relationship has run its course. Later, I met up with the other guy that I've been seeing. I told him everything. I told him that I ended things with my boyfriend because I didn't want to let him go. I told him that I'm not rushing into anything, that I don't expect him to give me all of his time or energy right away, but I'd love to date and see where things go. That's when he opened up and told me that watching me stay with my boyfriend while we were seeing each other was hard. He said that it hurt him, but he kept quiet because he liked me so much and he knew what he was getting into. He never intended to be in a polyamorous relationship, but only agreed to it because he really wanted to be with me and didn't want to lose the chance. He secretly hoped we would break up because, in his words, "You deserve someone who wants you completely." He said he likes me a lot, sees a future with me, and wants also to just date each other for now. We're not rushing into exclusivity, but we've both agreed not to see other people and see how this naturally unfolds. Edit to add, we already know that we like each other and don't want to see anyone else. At the same time, I don't want to be in an exclusive relationship. I just want to take my time since I left my first long-term relationship. I hope that makes sense. So even though I'm mourning the loss of my first relationship that meant the world to me for a long time, I feel hopeful. I feel like I'm stepping into something new, something healthy, and something that only involves just two people. Thank you all again for helping me find clarity in a really confusing time. In the comments, Elk International says, heart low-key dropped thinking the new guy was going to break it off with you too. OP says, girl, I was so scared. Girl, me too. I probably would have been sick for days on end if it was back-to-back breakups. OP says, nah, so many people DM'd me telling me that he likes the dynamic of you having a boyfriend so he doesn't have to be serious. Or how he's gonna leave me once I break up with my boyfriend. Honestly, it's been stressing me out, but I know him, and this man stayed loyal and made so much time for me, surely he wouldn't dump me, right? I took a leap of faith, and I'm so happy it worked out. Drunk Rabbit 22 says, love this for you. So glad to hear a nice update here. I have to ask though, in what way is agreeing not to see other people not being exclusive? Regardless, I don't see it as rushing in. You've already been seeing this dude. OP replies, it's exclusive as in only getting to know each other and no one else, but we agreed we are not boyfriend and girlfriend yet until I feel ready. I think everyone saw that it was going to go this way, although, yeah, I agree with OP. There was always the possibility that he broke up with her as well after seeing that she broke up with her first boyfriend. Glad that didn't happen, but it was definitely a possibility. As always happens in stories like this, it's unfortunate that you do have to get burnt and learn the hard way before you learn who is a good and a bad partner based off of their vibes. And sometimes you don't realize that they're a bad partner until they try to open up the relationship. No judgment to OP for that, I don't think you could have seen that coming. It just took 2 years to, 3.5 years, I think the timeline was, before he revealed that, he was not someone to keep around for the rest of your life. I really don't know how much of his response I should believe here as well. Kind of felt like he was just saying things so that OP wouldn't hate him and that OP would potentially take him back. But it's whatever. At this point, he's gone. OP's moved on. Happy ending. Thank you for the story, OP. Our next post is by user HockeyIsLife42, and it's titled, I have autism, but my girlfriend had a history with this. So I'm a 20-year-old man with autism. Yeah, I know, shocker, right? Bazinga. Unless I tell you, you'd never guess I have it. I can take care of myself, I have a car, I live on my own, I have a high-paying job, I'm at college getting A's, and I'm on the roster for my local hockey team. Why does this matter? Well, because this is not what my girlfriend has experienced. Hey, buddy, OP, I could tell most of my audience that I don't have autism, and half of them wouldn't believe me, alright? I run a Reddit reading YouTube channel. That is a very normal thing to do. My girlfriend has a brother with low-functioning autism and has had a history of yelling, breaking things, and giving their family stress. They love him, but I can tell that it's a painful experience, so what's the point of this post? Well, I met my girlfriend 4 months ago from a friend of mine, and 2 months later we started dating, and I was happy, and so was she. One time we went to her cousin's house with her family, and her brother was having a really bad day. He started screaming and yelling for 10 minutes straight, so my girlfriend went outside stressed out, and I followed. We went for a walk, and she started saying that she can't imagine being in a relationship with someone with autism. I should now mention that I never told her that I had autism. I mean, would you? People don't even know that there's different levels of autism, but they think it's kids screaming and other things I won't go on about since I don't want to waste time. After she said that, everything just went quiet after that until I broke the silence and said, what if, hypothetically, he was high-functioning? She said that she wouldn't because she sees high-functioning people with autism but could tell that there was something off with them. I found it confusing she said this, since with a brother with autism, you'd think that she would do research and find out there are people who, like me, have autism, but you would never guess that we have it. But she loves him, so yeah. Anyway, the reason I never told her I had it is because I didn't want her judging me. My friends were shocked I told them, but still remained friends, and said that they think that I'm normal and fun to hang with. Why did I tell them? Well, because I want to educate people, showing that there's different levels of autism. So why not when dating? Well, because there was a girl who was interested in me until I told her, and then she stopped being interested. So now you can see where I'm coming from. You may ask, why bother? Well, because I do autistic traits, such as pacing, repeating something over and over again, and not doing well with social skills. If I had to say, my social skills are great, but when it comes to setting up appointments, for example, I get frustrated. She has picked on this and asked me, and I told her that pacing helps me think. Sometimes I repeat things because I don't know. I just do. And I told her that I'm not that great being social. I am, just not at certain things. She still said that she liked me with all my flaws, and I think it's time that I tell her that I have autism so that she understands what I do and say, and that I can talk to her and have her support me. She's been thankful that I've been in her life and helped her with depression and giving up my time for her. So I just hope that she's ready to hear it and understand. I'm just afraid that she'll leave me. Should I tell her or not? I feel like she has a right to know since she's with me and I don't have to constantly explain myself. In the comments, tell her. People are still quite ignorant about autism. They only think of low-functioning kids and savants that they see on movies. If I was in your position, I'd let her know. By the sound of it, she digs you and your traits, so letting her know shouldn't really change anything. If anything, it might make more sense to her. I think her reaction about dating someone with autism was just her way of getting the stress and frustration out. At the end of the day, you never chose to be autistic, so she can't blame you. Don't hold it from her. Lying to her is lying to yourself. Honesty is key, and if she changes how she feels, then that's the kind of person you don't need to be around. Best of luck, and keep us updated. OP replies, I talked to her, and she burst into tears saying that she was sorry about what she said about not dating an autistic. I told her that it was fine and we hugged. She's happy that I opened up to her and understands things a lot more clearly now. Thank you for your support. Well, I'm happy that the support of Reddit was able to, help you communicate your feelings a bit more, OP. I understand where she's coming from, though. Having a brother with low-functioning autism and you've had to deal with that your whole life, I think that she's struggling with glass child syndrome as well. It really just does sound like a lot of this is coming from a place of grief and a place of trauma, and that's why she's reacting to things the way that she does, because that's how she's felt her whole life. This is her lived experience with autism. She doesn't want to continue feeling those things, and those feelings she will associate with autism as a whole. You are trying to communicate to her that autism is a spectrum, that not everyone with autism is the same, and I feel like we can see that on shows like Love on the Spectrum. I've only seen it through TikTok myself, but I can't stop watching it every time it comes up on the feed, I won't lie. I can't blame her for holding those viewpoints when I feel like it is coming from a place of grief and a place of trauma, much more so than an ignorant mindset where she is hating a group of people because of preconceived negative emotions and notions. I genuinely don't think that's the case here, but I'm always happy to be proved wrong, but it seems like that phone call told me that everything's gonna be alright. And now, onto the update, titled, Thank you guys for giving me the courage to tell my girlfriend. Earlier today, I posted about if I should tell my girlfriend I have autism. Originally, she never wanted to date someone with autism because her brother had low-functioning autism and it drove her mad, even though she loved him. She has never experienced a high-functioning person with autism until she met me, but when we started dating, I was too scared to tell her, and even more scared when she said she didn't want to date someone on the spectrum. When she got home, we had a conversation, and I told her that I was on the spectrum, and she started to cry, apologizing for what she'd said a few weeks back. I told her that it was okay, and we hugged. She was happy I told her because then she was able to understand some traits that I do and have a different look about autism. Thank you guys for helping me find the courage to tell her. Now I'm sure that our relationship will grow stronger. Keep changing people's lives and making others happy. I just want to add one more thing. My girlfriend had a reason to say what she said. Living with someone with autism, depending on the level, is very stressful. He is low functioning, so imagine having a child or sibling who cries, break things, and you have to keep an eye out for them when in public at all times. She was unaware of the different levels of autism and said that she will learn more about it for me and her brother. This is why I love her. Edit. Wow, thank you for the likes. I didn't expect this post to go so big. I've never been big on likes, but just seeing people being so supportive is all I need. Thank you once again for your support. In the comments, I'm so happy for you. Open communication is the key for a relationship, even when it's hard to say. Awesome, dude. The spectrum has now grown stronger. Soon, we will be able to conquer something small and insignificant like one of the square states in the US. Edit. Googled a map and apparently US states are more angular than I initially thought. I couldn't place my finger on what was bothering me, and then I figured it out. I know that girlfriend probably grew up as a parentified glass child, but the negative feelings, honestly an unknown bias, that she has about autistic people is more of a reflection of how her family functions. Sufficient Count says, I'm a high-functioning autistic man myself. My wife comes from a country where it's developed a lot technologically in recent years, but mental health is still a hush-hush subject. When I told her about my autism early in our relationship, she initially thought that I was misdiagnosed because to her, with her upbringing, autism was something noticeably obvious. But she sat down and did her own research and agreed that yup, definitely autistic with my behaviors and unusual ways that I look at things. Am I overreacting? My boyfriend's girl best friend is way too flirty, and I don't know how to deal with it. Hey Reddit, I, 21 female, have been dating my boyfriend, 24 male, for about 8 months now. And overall, things have been really great. He's kind, supportive, and we have a good time together, but there's one issue that's been bothering me more and more. His girl best friend. Let's call her Emily. They've been friends for years, long before I came into the picture, and I've tried to be cool about their friendship. I really did. I know it's possible for guys and girls to be friends, and I don't want to be that insecure girlfriend who tells him who he can or cannot hang out with. But Emily flirts with him. Like, a lot. She'll make comments about how hot he looks when we're all hanging out. She constantly finds reasons to touch him, like fixing his hair, poking him playfully, and leaning on him when she laughs. One time at a party, she sat in his lap like it was the most normal thing in the world. I was literally right there. I've brought it up to him gently, just saying that I feel kind of uncomfortable with some of the stuff that she does, and he brushed it off as her just being like that with everyone. But I've seen her around other guys, and it's not the same. What really messed with my head was when she told him, jokingly, that she would have dated him if they ever got the timing right, and he just laughed it off. I didn't know whether to cry or scream. I don't want to be controlling and I don't want to give him an ultimatum, but I also don't want to keep pretending that I'm okay with this dynamic when I'm really not. So, am I overreacting? Is this worth having a serious conversation about again? Has anyone been in a similar situation? I just feel stuck between wanting to trust him and not wanting to ignore my guts. Any advice would seriously help. In the comments, OK Being says, not overreacting. In fact, you're underreacting. Why are you with a guy that allows this to happen? He clearly likes the attention and won't take your concerns seriously. That's obviously flirting. I've been in a similar situation, and he ended up dating her after I broke up with him. There was clearly something between them. Just saying. Imagine if you did that with one of your male friends. How would he react? My guess is he'd probably be pissed, which should tell you something. He knows it's wrong, but doesn't care. OP replies, "It's also confusing. He's been such a wonderful guy besides this." OP in her own comment said, "So I've read through the comments and I'm gonna have a final conversation with my soon-to-be ex, and hopefully it'll be a peaceful one. I'll update you all after it." Yeah, I do think she is being too flirty, and it's okay to put an ultimatum on the relationship in this situation. Say, either you rein her in and you get her to cut that shit out, or we're done. But it seems like in this situation, OP has, and I'll say rightfully, chosen just to end the relationship, which I think is a lot better than trying to get him to rein it in, because can you trust him after he has allowed this behavior to go on for so long, when you know he would not be okay with you doing this with other guys? That's still a breach of trust, and it, to me, seems a bit like an emotional affair. I'm going to be honest, it seems like an emotional affair. If not, the potential of a physical affair also happening. It's got to be a deal breaker. And now, on to the update. Hey everyone, just wanted to post a quick update since you guys were kind enough to share advice and validate how I was feeling. I ended up having another conversation with my now ex-boyfriend a couple of weeks ago. I explained again, calmly and clearly, how uncomfortable Emily's behavior made me feel. I even gave specific examples like her sitting on his lap, the way that she always had her hands on him, the "we could have dated" comment, etc. I told him that I wasn't trying to be controlling, but that it was starting to feel disrespectful to our relationship, and that I needed him to understand where I was coming from. He still brushed it off, said again that that's just how she is, and that I was reading too much into it. No ownership, no acknowledgement, no willingness to set any kind of boundary. And that's when it clicked for me. I realized I was trying way too hard to explain basic respect in a relationship. I don't think he's a bad guy, but I do think that he was more afraid of upsetting Emily than he was of losing me. And that was enough of an answer, so I broke up with him. It wasn't dramatic, just sad. I told him that I deserved to be with someone who takes my feelings seriously and who wouldn't make me feel like a third wheel in my own relationship. Since then, I felt a weird mix of relief and grief, but mostly peace. I trusted my gut, I chose myself, and I know that I made the right decision. Thank you to everyone who helped me feel less crazy in that original post. Seriously, it meant more than I can say. In the comments, Julia Valentine says, "So many people blame the girl best friend because if she wasn't there doing all that, then they wouldn't be fighting. But the truth is that she had a boyfriend problem. Her boyfriend wasn't listening or respecting her feelings and establishing boundaries with a girl best friend. I'm glad she realized that and broke up rather than fighting a losing battle with a girl best friend for years." You're right, but that doesn't absolve the best friend. She knows exactly what she's doing. Oh yes, I agree. The friend's behavior is unacceptable, but it's up to the boyfriend to tell the friend that he's not okay with her behavior, which he refused to do. Unintentional Wipe says, "If I were in my petty 20s, I would have paid someone to act like a male best friend who came back after a couple of years away, and then we'd accidentally bump into each other and I'd act the same way with him. If anything is said about how it's inappropriate, or my boyfriend said, 'I feel uncomfortable with this,' I'd be like, 'You're right. That's why I'm breaking up with you.' But now I'm mature and would just break up and ghost." It's not too late to do that in your petty 20s. Someone right now listening to this can absolutely be in their petty 20s if they have a partner that's like this and just do it and tell us the results and make a post. But anyway, I think that OP did the exact right thing in this situation. It definitely was a boyfriend problem, and it was not worth sticking around. It was about respect. It was like the story where the woman had her cake eaten by her stoner boyfriend and the stoner friends. He didn't respect her. And in this story, OP's partner does not respect her at all. It's better to just cut your losses and find someone that does have respect for you. Thank you for the story, OP. I hope you're doing better now. Unexposed is by user TWXNC, and it's titled, "Am I the asshole here for ghosting my ex because she is married now? My friends think that I'm an asshole for blocking my ex, who is married, because she keeps calling and messaging me. I wanted to ask if what I'm doing is right, or if I should keep in touch with her. I dated Lisa for 4 years, and we broke up 2 years ago. Lisa told me she didn't see a future with me and wanted to call things off. There were many reasons, and I knew that it was coming. Lisa came from a wealthy family, and we met in college. Our relationship was great during the college years. However, after we graduated and got jobs, it became clear to her that I would not be able to provide the lifestyle that she was used to. She hated the small apartment we rented because I wanted to pay off my student loan quickly, and she resented that I couldn't afford to take her on nice vacations. It sucked, but I couldn't blame her. I loved Lisa deeply, but I also knew that she deserved the life that she wanted. After we broke up, we still had lingering feelings and stayed friends for a few months. We had mutual friends and would meet regularly. I never hated Lisa. In fact, I cherished the memories of the 4 years that we were together, but I also acutely was aware that we came from different worlds and that she shouldn't have to settle because of me. Still, it was hard to let go completely, and sometimes I wondered if I'd ever truly get over her. We drifted apart after Lisa started dating a family friend. I met him a few times at parties, and he knew that Lisa and I had dated, and though he was polite, I started avoiding her and focused on work. Eventually, I moved to another city and I lost touch with Lisa. I heard from mutual friends that she got married 6 months ago. I wasn't invited to the wedding, but I was happy for her. I also dated someone briefly last year, but right now my career is my main focus. That's what I need to believe. 3 weeks ago, out of the blue, I got a call from an unknown number. It was Lisa. She started with small talk, and we caught up on each other's lives. She told me about the new house that she and her husband had just bought and how busy she had been. I told her about my work and my new life. It was nice, like catching up with an old friend. She gave me her new number, and the call lasted about 20 minutes. Although I found it odd, I figured that she might have thought about me and decided to reach out. The next day, she messaged me and sent a few photos of her new house. I complimented her on them. 2 days later, she called me again, saying she was driving and thought about chatting. We talked about my new city, my new friends, and even gossiped about our old mutual friends. Then she started sending me photos from a recent party where they all met up. Over the next 2 weeks, Lisa began calling me almost every day. I ignored most of her calls, but she always said she had free time and wanted to talk. She started sending me TikToks, memes, and messages, initiating conversations all the time. At first, I brushed it off, thinking she was just being friendly, but it felt wrong. Lisa is married, and I shouldn't be talking to her so frequently. The more she reached out, the more unsettled I became. Was she unhappy in her marriage? Was she just lonely? Or was I reading too much into it? Last Friday, I finally messaged her, saying that it felt inappropriate for us to talk so often, given that she's married now. She replied almost immediately, saying that there's nothing wrong with us being good friends like before. I didn't want to continue, so I told her that we needed to stop talking for a while because I needed to focus on work. And after that, I blocked her number. She called our mutual friend Jess, crying about how I was rude, and blocked her. Jess told our other friends, and some of them called me, saying that I was being unreasonable to treat Lisa that way and to cut her off. I don't understand how no one sees that it's wrong for Lisa to call her ex when she's happily married after more than a year of no contact. It doesn't make sense, but maybe I'm the one who's missing something. Am I being unreasonable with Lisa, or was it right for me to block her for both of our sakes? And if I'm right, why do I still feel so conflicted? In the comments, not the asshole. Simple question and test. Ask her, since there's nothing wrong with us being good friends, does her husband know, and can she add him to the text group? I'm pretty sure we both know the answer. Not the asshole. She wants you as her side piece. Don't play her game. Let her live her boring life with her boring husband. She's bored with a lifestyle that you couldn't provide. She's missing what you had, and it will turn into an affair. Maybe her husband is gay and is hiding in their marriage so that he doesn't lose his inheritance. No matter the reason, not the asshole. Yeah, it's definitely an inappropriate situation, and you definitely need to cut contact with her as soon as possible. It's not okay for her to be contacting you this much. It's not okay what she is doing, and it is crossing a line. Just tell her that this needs to end, block her, and be done with it. It's not worth it. It is never going to be worth it to keep in contact with her. And now, on to the update. I had posted a month and a half ago regarding going no contact with my ex-girlfriend Lisa after she tried to rekindle our friendship. Lisa married her husband Jason 6 months ago, and I wanted to respect their marriage, and blocked her after I felt that we were crossing a line. My friend was very critical of me because I was ignoring her, and most of you agreed that I did the right thing. People have been really crazy since then, and many of you asked for an update. I wanted to respect Lisa's privacy, but as things settled down, I'm again not sure if I'm doing the right thing and need advice on my situation. Sorry for the long post, but too many things have happened, and I wanted to get this off my chest. After I blocked Lisa, she called my friend Jess and wanted to talk to me one last time. I initially declined, but finally caved in and told her that it would be the last time that we would talk. Lisa called me on Saturday morning and told me that she wanted to talk to me because she needed help and doesn't know if she can trust anyone. She sounded awful, and I had to calm her down before she told me what was going on. Lisa told me that after we broke up, she met her husband Jason within a few months. Jason asked her out for a date in front of her mum, and her mum insisted that she at least give Jason a chance. Jason was a charmer, and they quickly became official. Jason was everything I was not. He came from a wealthy family and had everything figured out. He took her on all of the vacations I could never afford, and Lisa loved this life where she didn't have to worry about things like loans and money when she was with me. They had a grand wedding, but Lisa told me that things quickly started going south. One night, she was hanging out with Jason's friends, and one of his college friends started flirting with her and touched her inappropriately. Lisa was shocked and told Jason immediately. Jason was drunk and told Lisa to loosen up and to enjoy the party and did not confront the friend. As months went by, Lisa found proof that Jason and his friends were doing drugs, and Jason had slept with most of his friends' wives, and it was a common thing in their friend group. She suspects it happened during the time they were dating and also a few times after they were married. She confronted Jason, but he just got mad at her and told her that she's being too uptight. Things got messy, and Lisa told me that there were some instances of physical abuse, though she didn't go into too many details. Lisa wanted to leave Jason and told her mum about it. However, her mum told her that it's too early in their marriage, and instead, Lisa should work harder to make Jason happy so that he does not have to look at those other women. Lisa never told any of our mutual friends about this because they all loved Jason, mostly because he paid for all the parties, restaurants, etc., and Lisa just felt very lonely and helpless. That's when she got a burner phone and started messaging me on it. She apologized to me for getting me involved in her mess, but asked me if I can buy her a ticket to my city so that she can get away from Jason and everyone and figure out what to do next. She could not buy the tickets because Jason had access to all of her cards and accounts, and she could not trust any of her friends back home because Jason might know about it. I was really angry with the whole situation, and I agreed to help her. I got the tickets immediately and did not email her any details. I only told her the confirmation numbers when packed and reached the airport. She flew to my city and is staying in my guest room. As expected, hell broke loose as soon as she called her parents to tell them that she has left Jason and is with me. She told them and our friends why she did what she did. However, everyone just thought that we had an affair and that she left Jason for me. Jason was really angry and demanded her to come home or they are done. Her parents called her to plead with her to come back and talk about things calmly. Her dad refused to talk to her, while her mum flew to my city, and we all met and she told her what happened. Her mum was more worried about their reputation than what Lisa had went through in the last few months. It was just sickening. Lisa is looking for a lawyer to file for a divorce and has refused to talk to Jason since she came here. Jason has not made any attempt to visit her, and initially he sent a lot of threatening messages. I feel he was advised not to send any more incriminating messages to her, and the messages from him suddenly stopped and there is radio silence. Lisa has currently been living with me for the last month. She's offered to pay me rent, but I've told her to just save up for any legal fees, as it seems her parents might cut her off. Many of our mutual friends still refuse to believe what Jason did, and some feel as though we were having an affair. Many of them have completely stopped talking to Lisa and me, and even removed us from their socials. Lisa looks like an empty shell of herself. She was the most kind, fun person when we were together, and even though she keeps a brave face, she just bursts into tears randomly. I feel like she's still not told me the whole story on what Jason has done to her, but I'm just going to be a good friend and give her the space that she needs. I honestly am not sure how to feel. Everything happened so suddenly. I never had time to react and think if what I'm doing is right. I don't know how I got into a situation where my married ex is now living with me. I cannot kick her out, and I want to be there to support her in such a horrible time. However, a part of me also does not know if what I'm doing is right, and as she is still a married woman, I don't want to be labeled a homewrecker or a cheater. Any advice would be appreciated. Edit. Just wanted to add some context since many of you are asking about it in the comments. Lisa left her main phone home when she left, since her husband can track her phone. He was already paranoid that Lisa would leave him and was tracking all accounts and Lisa's whereabouts. She didn't want to let anyone know that she was at my place. However, I insisted that she at least call and tell her parents that she was safe, else they would have thought that she disappeared and might have gone to the cops to file a missing persons report. Jess did not help her because Lisa did not tell Jess or any of our friends about the abuse. All that Lisa told me was that she didn't trust any of our friends right now. I'm still not sure why and what happened there. However, most of our friends have sided with Jason, and he's spreading a false narrative that Lisa married him for money and waited for 6 months exactly so that she is eligible for a significant alimony, based on their prenup. Everyone suspects that we, Lisa and I, planned this whole charade for Jason's money. Lisa left and came to me because she wanted to put as much physical distance between Jason and her before she told him that she was leaving. And of course, Lisa and I are not getting back together. I understand the vulnerable position she's in, and I just want to make sure that she is safe. Finally, what are my future plans? Well, I'm taking this one day at a time. I luckily have a very well-paying job now, and I do not have to worry financially about supporting her for a short time. However, I do understand Lisa cannot live with me forever, and we need to figure out something as soon as things settle down. In the comments, whoa, what a wild ride. Although it seems like you made the right decision in blocking her at first. I'm happy you were able to intervene and support her during her difficult time. It's terrible when people put their reputation before the welfare of others. I'm sending Lisa my best wishes and hoping that everything turns out well for her in the end. OP says, it's just crazy to see Lisa go through so much in the last few months and no one is standing in her corner. I also hope that she finds strength. Another commenter says, okay, she should not be living with you. You are not her savior. Maybe what she's telling you is true, and maybe it's exaggerated to gain your sympathy. She needs to end her marital relationship and deal with her baggage from that before jumping back in with you. All of the reasons that she threw you over for her husband still exist. She is still married, period. She can go live with her parents. If he has money and she doesn't, it could be a long, messy divorce. Step back and let her deal with her crap. And now, onto the second update. I wrote about my ex Lisa contacting me 7 months ago. She wanted to be friends, but I ended up ghosting her because she was married. She was able to escape her abusive marriage, and I had been helping her over the last 7 months to get her life back on track. A lot of you have been messaging me for the last few months regarding the update. I think we have some resolution now, and in my opinion, a semi-happy one. After Lisa left Jason around 6 months ago, she came to my town. It looked horrible as I was her ex-boyfriend, and her parents and our friends flipped on us. It didn't help that Jason, her husband, went around telling everyone that we were having an affair and that she left him for me. In reality, Jason was abusive to her, and her parents and most of our friends refused to help her. She reached out to me because I lived halfway across the country, and she just wanted to get some distance from the situation before filing for divorce. I took everyone's advice, and we got her an apartment near me immediately after I wrote the previous update. Her mum refused to acknowledge the situation and called her a lot of names, but her dad secretly helped her financially for a while, and she was able to get on her feet. Jason kept on harassing her and leaving nasty messages, and suddenly tried to love bomb her and send her flowers, etc. Lisa filed for divorce around 4 months ago. Initially, Jason tried to fight it and make her life hell. However, Lisa gave all of the evidence that she had against Jason. Text messages, proof of him cheating, etc. to her lawyers, and they negotiated with Jason's lawyers for an uncontested divorce. I think all of the paperwork is in now, and we're just waiting for the courts to finalize the divorce. This is where it got really complex. Lisa's lawyers filed for alimony, and Lisa will be getting a significant payout as long as she signs an NDA and does not share the text messages and pictures that her lawyers used as leverage. It's significant enough that Lisa will not ever have to worry about money again. Lisa agreed to the NDA as a clause for getting a quick, uncontested divorce. As soon as the news of the divorce came out, news spread that Lisa and I were having an affair and planned the whole marriage charade to get money from Jason's family. I know many of Lisa's friends who are from her hometown sided with Jason and sent Lisa some really nasty messages. Lisa's family also has been harassed by everyone in their town, and they lost a lot of friends due to this. Lisa's mum went nuclear on Lisa and me and accused us of conning Jason. Her dad has also cut all contact with her after the divorce details were finalized. We cannot share any of the messages to prove her side, as she has already signed the NDA. Regarding Lisa and me, when I saw Lisa in trouble, I jumped immediately into saving her without an afterthought. I feel the part of me that loved her never went away. I didn't tell her that, nor did I bring up dating. However, Lisa came and kissed me when I was cooking. We just could not control our feelings. Even though we have been romantically involved for the past 4 to 5 months, we've decided to take it slow and wait until Lisa heals before thinking of any next steps. I feel Lisa is in a lot of traumas, and we are just bonding over that. We do not know what to do here. On one hand, we want Jason to pay for what he put Lisa through. However, Lisa is now like a social pariah and suffering depression. She is in therapy, and I just feel so bad for her. I would love to get some perspectives on what I can do to make Lisa feel better. I feel that she's just caught up in a rock and a hard place. In the comments, she might want to talk to a lawyer to get advice on what she can and can't say. For instance, she can't show these messages and prove that he was cheating on her, but can she say that he was cheating on her? Can she say he was abusive? Can she reference that she has proof if she doesn't show it? Surely she can say he's a liar. She should defend her reputation as much as she legally can, given the deal she made, but only to people who seem to be open to hearing it. I don't know, like, for instance, if her parents are open to hearing it, which is just awful. OP says, according to the lawyer, it's advisable to not say anything at this point, as it may derail the proceedings. We had told this to her mum and her best friends in the past, before filing, and they all sided with Jason anyways. He can't use the NDA to defame her. Take him back to the court and sue. I mean, surely an NDA can be broken if the other party is defaming you. I don't know that for sure, but it seems like an NDA would get real flimsy if you started telling people harmful things to reputation that contradict what's in the NDA. It's not a slander me agreement. Also, OP says we can't share any information, but surely he isn't a part of the NDA. He can defend himself. I don't think he has enough brain cells to think in that direction. Am I the asshole here for telling my wife that I'd never have asked her out if I knew that she was a sugar baby? I've been with my wife for 5 years, married a little over 1 year. I was doing some cleaning, and something I never noticed before was my wife's old jewelry. I know that she had it, but I never noticed just how expensive looking it was. I asked my wife out of curiosity, Where did she get these and how much were they? She told me they were from an ex and they cost an arseload. She told me before she only had one ex, back in high school and a bit of college. I asked her how the hell did a high school kid afford these? She looked confused, and I reminded her that she told me about her one ex. There was an awkward silence, and I asked her what was up with her. Did she have another ex? And if so, why did she tell me she only had one? She tried to play it off, but I pressed her on it, and she confessed that she had several sugar daddies for about 3 years. I was mad, but I kept calm. I asked why she never told me she was a prostitute. She tried to give me a spiel about how it's more like a relationship, but with gifts and shit, and I told her to cut the crap. She told me she was afraid that I was going to judge her. I told her I was seriously mad and that she shouldn't have kept this from me. She asked, "Does it matter?" And I told her of course it matters. And she asked me why, and I told her that I'd have never asked her out in the first place if I knew, and that she straight up lied to me when she told me that she only had one ex. She told me she did only have one ex, and that just pissed me off more, and I told her, "Didn't you just say the sugar crap was more like a relationship?" She did cry and said sorry, and that she'd do anything to make it up to me. I told her that I need some space. I don't know, I'm pissed off. I do love my wife, but I feel robbed of my decision. I do mean what I said. I'd have never asked her out if I knew back then. In the comments, contribution used says, "Talk to your wife when you are both calm. She is clearly embarrassed by this. Speak your concerns to her and listen to her answers. Work this out with her, not on Reddit." Quote, "She told me she was afraid that I was going to judge her. So that's her policy? If I did something that might make me look bad, I'll hide it from the person that it would matter to?" I know lots of people on Reddit would say the past doesn't matter, but that's total bullshit. Of course the past matters. Some people don't mind dating someone who was a sugar baby, others do. But it's important not to hide this from your potential partner and let them make the choice. The past matters less when you're open and transparent to it and use it as a tool to learn from the past. But as soon as portions of the past are hidden or dismissed, yes, the past is now important. We've had many situations similar to this come up on the channel, and from what I've seen in the comments, from how I've seen updates go, from how I've seen people in the community talk in my comments on these videos, many people feel many different ways about situations like these. There does tend to be strong negative emotions tied to not telling your partner things that you know your partner would not be cool with. This was absolutely a deal breaker by her own admission because she knew that he would judge her. If that's the case, in a way, your relationship and your marriage is kind of built on a lie. I feel like everyone has things they should be open and transparent about, and a lot of people have things they're going to take to their grave. This is not an easy one to judge at all, but I think both of them have very valid reasons for doing what they did and feeling the way that they're feeling, but her being a sugar baby should have been brought up at some point. If the person you're trying to date has issues with sex work and you yourself have done sex work before, if and when that comes up, you're going to get this situation happening. Is it worth it to pursue a relationship with that person if and when they find out about your past? And are you surprised that they act this way when you have concealed that information? I myself don't agree with his visceral reaction to this one and how much disdain he has for sex workers, but I understand why he feels the way he does. He has been lied to. And now, on to the update. So I'm staying with my wife. I still don't like that she hid this from me, but I'm staying with her. But I stand by 2 things I said. She was a prostitute. Some of you kept saying that sugar babies don't always have sex with their clients, and whatever. By my wife's own admission, she did sleep with her clients, so yeah, prostitute. I'm not going to pretend that she wasn't. Some of y'all are actually delusional though. Just because she wasn't out on a street corner doesn't mean that she wasn't a prostitute. She had sex for money. I don't know if I'd have broken up with her if I knew earlier. That's the truth. If I was single again, I wouldn't date someone who was a prostitute. Do I think prostitutes don't deserve to get married? Nope. But that ain't for me. Anyways, things have gone back to normal for us. She's actually sold the jewelry that her clients got for her. Not at my request, she did this on her own. There hasn't been any major drama between us since. We had an open heart-to-heart. I did tell her that what I said was true. I wouldn't have asked her out if I knew. And I told her maybe it was a good thing she didn't tell me, since we do have a wonderful life together, but that doesn't mean that her being dishonest was a good thing. She and I decided to put this behind us. But I did tell her that if she has any more secrets like that, she needs to tell me right now. And if I ever found out something about her like this, we are done. I also wanted to address one little thing. Some of you all were like, no wonder she didn't tell you. She knew that you were an insecure asshole, or something like that. So, are you all willing to marry assholes? Seriously, I don't comprehend this logic. It's not like I forced my wife to marry me. If she knew that I was an insecure asshole, why exactly did she decide to marry an insecure asshole? What? Would you marry an asshole as long as you lied to them to make sure they never find out about your past? In the comments, Sir Abel of the HH says, you had the right attitude and were being honest. If her behavior truly is in the past, good on you for forgiving her. OP says, I figured that I could either be right or I could be happy. I choose to try and be happy. Consuela No replies, to be happy, you need to go to counseling to actually work through your feelings because you still come across as very bitter. Having resentment build up over time will just hurt you and her. And now onto the latest update. So thanks to a very understanding comment from my last post, seriously, thank you, my wife and I have gone to counseling. We had some very deep conversations about us, trust, and what our expectations were. We were lucky enough to find a really good therapist very soon. It hasn't been that long, but I actually feel like our relationship is stronger than ever. I apologized to her profusely for what I said to her. I recognized that what I said to her was needlessly hurtful, and she apologized for lying about it. She recognized that she did hide this from me. We cried, we hugged, we talked. We have gotten closer than ever now. We talk more openly about our feelings, and, well, both our sex drives have gone up a lot. It's hard to explain, but it feels like we broke through a barrier that neither of us knew was there. I don't feel upset anymore. My heart feels lighter. It feels like a grip had just let go of it. My wife says that she feels the same. I don't know. I feel really good now, and I feel like I fell in love with my wife all over again. In the comments, NotABear87 says, update us in a year. I wish you two the best, but anyone that can marry you while holding a secret that huge has more. Yeah, man, that's rough. She was a prostitute and didn't think it important enough to tell you before marriage? Usually I'd say that trust is severely broken, but I guess these types of prostitutes heavily lie to themselves to be able to pretend that they aren't. You both are in a tough spot right now. You know your wife was a prostitute, and she knows you know that she was. That's really tough, man. Hope it plays out well for you, no matter how that looks. And OP replies, we were, I'll admit it, but I do think that we're past that now. Rum and Coke says, oh, this marriage is over. How long until they have a fight about something else and he calls her a whore? My top takeaway was that this entire thing was so much more reductive than it needed to be, but yours is more to the point. My father used to call my mother a whore when they fought, which was always. I asked her once why she didn't get mad when he called her that, and she said, because they're his favorite people. Lord Percy Northrop says, this dude radiates so much disgust and contempt for his wife. He all but calls her a whore throughout all of this, and clearly is focused entirely on the idea that she is soiled by her past, and that now he is dirty in some way too. Stardust on the Boot says, I have interacted with a few sex workers for research. One thing they taught me that the usage of the word prostitute instead of sex worker or hooker is basically a litmus test to determine if the person will respect them or not. I thought it might depend on the region and city, but it gets proven right over and over again. That's a rough one. That's a really rough situation. And I guess it was great that they went to counseling together and that they talked these feelings through. But it really does to me feel like they're going through a second honeymoon period, and this one will fade. And I do not feel like that marriage is going to last. For me, I resonate with that commenter that was talking about how when they have a big fight, he's going to bring it up again, and that is going to be the start of the end. I genuinely believe that. That's my bias. That's the feeling and the vibe that I get from this one. More than happy to have people disagree with me on that one, but yeah, he does radiate disgust and contempt for his wife. As I said, I understand why he feels the way he does. I don't agree with it. He does not sound like a good person, but she also should not have lied to him about this and kept this from him. Because yeah, if she can hide that, what else can she hide? These are two imperfect people. These are two, by the sounds of it, somewhat broken people. I don't think the marriage is going to last, but if it does, the more the merrier. Thank you for the story, OP. Unexposed is by user Long Distance Deception, titled, I, 25 female, have been long distance with my boyfriend, 25 male, for 3 months because he was temporarily sent away on a work project. It turns out that he misled me when he said temporarily and actually won't be coming back. I had been dating Lawrence for 4 months when he told me that he was being sent away for work. He works as a project manager and had to move across the country to help with a new development. I really enjoyed being with Lawrence and was sad that he was moving away, but I made it clear that I did not want to do long distance. It wasn't for me. I had tried it with other boyfriends in the past, with little success. But it's only 3 months, was what he said to me. We talked about it more in depth, and he explained to me that he only had to be there for the initial launch and to help get things moving, and then they were sending him back after 3 months. We talked more about the situation, and I agreed to it. 3 months was not that bad at all, and it's not like I wanted to be with anybody else. He was an incredibly caring and attentive long-distance boyfriend. It was hard the way that all long-distance relationships were hard, but he did put in a lot of effort to make things work. He even surprise visited me once a month. Well, Reddit, it has been 3 months, and guess what? He's not coming back. He just told me that he was actually sent away permanently. Not to help set up, but to run the whole development. It was a big promotion for him. But he didn't want to let me go, and he knew that I was not willing to do long distance, so he basically lied. He figured that if I got a taste of what long distance with him was like, I would change my mind and want to stay with him. He doesn't understand why I am furious. The big part of why I have been okay with doing long distance with him is because I knew it was temporary. It's like he tried to trap me into a longer relationship. I don't know what to do. I don't want to do long distance, even if he does visit me once a month, but I'm especially angry that he doesn't understand why he did what he did was not okay. He basically stole 3 months from me. He's coming back this weekend. I had a whole thing planned for it. I got us a nice hotel at a nearby beach and booked restaurant reservations. Except now his return is actually just another visit. In the comments, Mrs. Patrick Sharp says, "Holy crap, wow. I'm really sorry. You knew before he left that you didn't want to do the long-distance relationship thing, and he still lied and tried to force you into being okay with it by putting on a front that this was temporary. What's he gonna lie about next? His name? That he really didn't go for a job? I mean, at this point, lying in a relationship that's only been going on for 4 months is okay according to him. You need to break up with him. Here is my suggestion on how. Lawrence, you were right. I really do love long-distance relationships. Would you like to know why? Because it makes it so much easier to weed out liars and never have to speak with them ever again. Harsh, but true. What a jerk. Can you change your reservations to just you and enjoy a nice weekend away for yourself to deal with this? Hopefully break up? Remember Coombe Valley says, quote, what do I do? Cancel your reservations. If you can, go out of town for the weekend. Hotel at a nearby beach and fancy restaurants? Hell, I'd keep him and bring a friend. See if you can get that room switched from a king to 2 doubles. Yeah, I would just immediately break up with him, read him to filth for having led you on, knowing that he was not going to commit to this long-distance relationship and he was not going to come back for you, and then just move on with your life. Enjoy that holiday by yourself or with someone else, because he doesn't deserve anything good at this point and you deserve the best, okay, OP? I hope you're okay after this. And now, onto the update. I'm literally shaking as I type this. So much has happened in the mere days since I posted. So after reading and considering all your comments, I break up with him immediately. I honestly didn't even want to wait to do it in person because I was so angry, and because I had decided to do the romantic beach trip with my best friend instead. So I wasn't going to wait for him to get there. I explained very clearly why what he did was such an awful thing to do to a person. He apologizes for lying to me for months. He is sad and hurt about what happened, and tries to convince me to stay with him, all that shit, but I am firm and he eventually accepts it. The next day, he is in a Facebook relationship with somebody else. I check his Facebook, and all of a sudden there are months of posts of him and this new girl visible to me. Posts that he had clearly hidden from me that he made available to me now. They clearly have been together for the last 2 months. I freak out. I call and text him, nothing. I message him on Facebook, nothing. Radio silence. He has totally cut me out. I am infuriated, and I message this new girl on Facebook. I don't want to waste my time with this, so I type up a long message explaining our relationship, including screenshots of our texts, pictures of us together, even photos of gifts and cards that he has given me. The new girl responds, and this is an exact quote, "Yeah, he told me you would do this. Listen, from one woman to another, please consider getting some professional help. You can't keep doing this every time he enters a new relationship. It's unhealthy. Learn to move on. I am now blocking you. Please do not try to contact me again." So, yeah, that's it. I'm in shock. I'm humiliated. I am so angry. I'm leaving for the beach with my best friend this evening, which will be much, much needed. In the comments, Pretty Princess 90 says, "What an asshole. Don't worry, she'll figure it out in time. I wonder though, the information you sent her, how recent is it? Any proof of you guys being in a relationship like very recently?" OP replies, "Yeah, there were recent photos of us. I even attached screenshots of my photo albums within iPhoto that had dates on them. The screenshots of our text messages are also dated. I feel like he must have elaborately prepared for this to happen or something, because she was so unfazed by everything I sent her." Pretty Princess replies, "I mean, if you're determined, you can point out for her to look at the dates on everything, but otherwise, you're just gonna have to leave it alone." OP replies, "In the messages, I mentioned the fact that the photos and texts were dated. It doesn't matter anyway. I'm already blocked. I'd rather put this whole thing behind me. I'm sure she'll find out for herself soon enough that he is a total psycho." Chonkosaurus Rex says, "If Lawrence was able to get a big promotion involving moving, starting something up and running it, while being able to maintain an attentive long-distance relationship with OP, trying to make her stay, and create a new relationship strong enough 2 months in that she ignores time-stamped messages, then Lawrence does this for sport. Making the Facebook posts available to her was punishment for making him lose before he said so. Yeah, this totally was a you didn't win move." Which is weird because the person who spends that much time planning a betrayal isn't the type of person you want to be in a long-term relationship with. Even though it's his I win moment, I don't think it's true. It's just him showing who he really is. I cannot imagine how gifted a liar Lawrence must be that OP sent time-stamped photos and texts proving that he's a no-good cheater, and her response was get therapy. The only way I can imagine believing him is if the advanced preparation came with proof of OP having sent previous messages to more recent exes, so his imagination must outrank mine. Just because he's a piece of shit does not mean that he is lazy. Damn, alright. He probably just said that she would have edited the pictures to have the wrong timestamps. I'm sure there's a way of verifying if they're real, but I sure don't have the tech savvy for that, if it's just a number in the corner of the picture and in the file name. And he probably went into the relationship starting his little story of how difficult life is for him, because he has a crazy ex, etc., and he'd continue throwing in little tidbits to get the new girlfriend sympathetic to him. Her response sounds like he has been carefully preparing her for months to receive such a message. And at this point, OP, sorry that you got burnt in that situation, but not your circus, not your monkeys. That is an insane response from the girlfriend that he's dating now to be so callous and nonchalant about it. But she's gonna learn the hard way. There is no way that he doesn't repeat his behaviors. He is not done. He has been so, systematic and really to the point with this that, it does seem like he does this for sport. He's just gonna leave a trail of burnt people behind him, destroyed bridges and failed relationships, all due to who he is as a person. You are just one of many victims by the sounds, and this is his newest victim. Just stay away from it, keep him out of your life, and thank God that he's on the other side of the country now. What a psychopath. Am I overreacting for demanding to be paid after wearing something inappropriate to babysit? Hi, I'm 15 and have been babysitting this family for over a year. They are more on the conservative side and a lot more religious than my family, but they are generally nice and I love their kids. I did not receive payment from them the last time that I babysat, and so I reached out, and they are now saying they will not pay me the full price because I was wearing something inappropriate. I'm just wondering if I'm overreacting. For context, I was wearing a sweatshirt over my tank top and only took it off after the kids asked me to run around with them. I babysat from 4 to 10:30, and I normally charge $15 with a $5 increase per kid. So $20 for 2 kids. Here's the text message exchange. OP says, "Hi, I hope you had a great weekend. I just wanted to reach out because I haven't gotten my payment from Wednesday yet. I know you guys celebrate Good Friday and Easter, so I totally get that it probably slipped off your radar, but if you could Venmo me when you have the chance, that would be fantastic." They reply, "Hello, M. D and I have been talking about it, and quite frankly, we do not feel comfortable paying you the full amount after you wore such an inappropriate clothing to our house. The kids love you, and we are more than happy to give you a second chance, but we cannot pay you more than $50 after you wore that outfit." OP replies, "Wow, I had no idea that you guys felt that way. I am so sorry that I made you feel uncomfortable. I just wanted to be in something flexible to run around in with S and E. That being said, $50 honestly does not feel like enough money for 2 kids and 7 hours. I understand you do not feel like paying me full price, and I'd be willing to do half of what I normally charge." And I'm not going to link the third photo because I don't want to dox OP, but to me, there was nothing wrong with what she was wearing. In the comments, Mooney Babe says, "I second that you should tell your parents or a trusted adult. The family needs to pay you the full amount. What you wore was not inappropriate in the least, and even if it was, they still need to pay you what they owe. If they were uncomfortable with your clothing, they could have had a conversation with you or sent you home before they went out. In my opinion, it's just shady behavior plus an excuse not to pay up. I also agree with what the others are saying about them sexualizing you. It's not cool, it's not okay. Tell an adult." Natty07 says, quote, "What you wore was not inappropriate in the least, and even if it was, they still need to pay you what you owe." Exactly. You can't just not pay someone for the time they worked. If they were uncomfortable with her outfit, they could have said they didn't want her to babysit, or they couldn't ask her back in the future. But they won't, because then who could they exploit for their childcare? OP, please talk to a parent about this. You did a pretty good job replying, but never offer for someone to pay half when they're already being unreasonable and unethical. There are times to reduce or refund charges, but this is not one of them. Did they ever stress any rules about a dress code to you in the past? I'm trying to see where they're coming from, but I'm really struggling. This is insane, especially since you were looking after 2 girls. OP replies, nothing prior about clothing other than they once made some odd comment, I can't remember it exactly, about the necklace that I was wearing. It was a Star of David. But I just chalked that up to them being very Catholic, but I don't know. I didn't think that has anything to do with a dress code. They're girls of 5 and 7, so I thought that it would be okay to wear a tank top. Miss 55 replies, on another note, they were quite happy to leave you with the kids and not mention it. If it was that disturbing, couldn't they have addressed it before they conveniently left and had a really good time for 7 hours at your expense? OP replies, this is what's so odd to me. I live 4 doors down from them. If they had such a problem, I would have easily popped home and changed. Remote Dawning says, get your parents involved. Your parents can call them out on their obvious bullshit and demand they pay you. No 50% discount, payment in full. They don't get to renegotiate the term of the work agreement unilaterally after the work was done. That's not the way the world works, and they know that. They are being bad people right now. Ask your parents to tell them that you will not be allowed back in their home. Have your dad emphasize how uncomfortable he is that they were sexualizing you, a minor, and that this borders on sexual assault to make suggestive sexual remarks about your clothing to you. Even better if he makes strong eye contact with the dad in that moment. Don't let people mess with you. This is just classic manipulative behavior. These 2 parents obviously have something wrong with them that they're going to shame and demean OP and be like, you know what? You're only getting $50 for 7 hours of labor after we promised $150, and that's been the normal negotiation this whole time. They know what they're doing is wrong. They know that that's unethical. They don't care though, because they get to have their cake and eat it too. They get to shame her for wearing perfectly normal clothes, and they get to rip her off an insane amount of money that is a lot of money for her. Like everyone else said, I don't think she's overreacting at all. I do think she needs to get her parents involved at this point, and dad or mum needs to come and set the record straight with those 2. My kids will not be messed with, and they will not be dealing with you anymore. Have a good day, sir. And now, onto the update. Hi. So this is an update to the post that I made last night about a babysitting fiasco. First of all, I had no idea that it would blow up like that, and from the bottom of my heart, I am so grateful for every single person who took time out of their day to write out a reply. It truly was so helpful. If you didn't see that post, I'm May, I'm 15, and the parents that I was babysitting for refused to pay me because they found my outfit inappropriate. Around the same time the post started to blow up, my mum sent out an email to my neighbor/the mother, and she never got a response, which wasn't very surprising, as they don't get along very well due to opposing political beliefs and religions, etc. My mum is Jewish, and she's very Catholic. A lot of people suggested taking my neighbor to small claims court, but where I'm at, the price of even filing a claim is half the money that I would have made, as well as the fact that we live in a small town, and my neighbor is a huge member of her church and very quote-unquote popular. I'm not really sure how to phrase it in a non-high schooler way, so it just wouldn't have been worth it. Anyways, I sent another text, got a response, etc., etc., and the rest of the story is included over the texts. Again, thank you so much for all of the kind words. OP says, Hi Em. I apologize for the double texting. I know your kids are on break this week, but you haven't responded to my text or my mother's email. I've been thinking about the last couple texts, and while I feel awful that I offended you and Dee, we had never gone over ground rules about clothing, and I do not think that it's fair for you to go back on your word. I think that it's the best decision for the both of us if you pay me in total and we can put this behind us. And they reply, May, I've known you since you were a little girl, and it's quite disheartening to see that you have grown up into another version of your mother. Whoa! Hey, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? Say it with your chest. Come say it to my face. Nevertheless, Dee has Venmo'd you $150. You were so lovely growing up, and we always prayed that you would find a sliver of normality among your parents. I do not think that we will be using you as a sitter anymore. And OP replies, Honestly, I don't feel comfortable coming back in your house anymore, considering the way that you've treated me, talked about my parents, and attempted to use me, plus go back on your words. I highly doubt that I'll be recommending you to any of my friends who want to get into babysitting. Have a good week. No, OP, say, have the week you deserve, alright? In the comments, Not That Cousin Greg says, "You are amazing. I am so glad you stood up to her. I was so mad for you when I read your post last night. I know I sounded crazy when I commented, but I'm so tired of people your age getting used by grown-ass adults. I'm so glad that you ripped her a new one, and congrats on the full payment." OP, I just want to say that as a mum of a 15-year-old girl who dresses almost exactly like you, I think you did an amazing job here. As a mum who is probably somewhat like your mum, I'm proud of you. You handled this very well. I showed my daughter the pic of what you were wearing, and as suspected, she confirmed it's completely normal. And to be clear, she's a good kid. You looked great, completely appropriate for a 15-year-old, and I'm glad you fired those people. They don't seem trustworthy at all. Good for you for standing up for yourself, and your reply about your mum being awesome was such an amazing burn. Your neighbor's heart is rotten if she thinks she can talk to a teenager that way. The trash took itself out. OP says, "I was raised by the best. Thanks for the kind comment. I really appreciate it." Yeah, that neighbor is just nasty. What is her problem? Oh, I was really hoping that you'd be a better person, but you're just like your rotten mother. Ew. Ew, ew, ew. She sounds like an absolute joy to be around. She sounds like the best person to associate with. Not spiteful at all, not a nasty, vindictive bone in her body. She is just immaculate and perfect, that woman. Oh my god, I have so much disdain for her. Why is she talking to a 15? Why do people have beef with, like, kids? How bored and brain-broken are people to just start fighting with, like, teenagers and kids? Like teachers in school. This is like you having beef with your teacher at school. Why is it that the kids always have to be the bigger person in these situations? Has that woman no shame? I love OP's response, but that woman just pisses me off, man. Thank you for the story, OP. You're still not overreacting. You've definitely done the right thing here. I'm well entertained, so again, thank you, thank you, thank you. Our next post is by user Chicken Wing Priest, and it's titled, "I broke up with my girlfriend over tattoos. She no longer agrees with our breakup." Nuts. Actually, you can't break up with me anymore. I want to preface this with a disclaimer that there is nothing wrong with having tattoos if you want and like them. They aren't my thing. Please don't take this as a condemnation of tattoos or the people that get them as a whole. My ex and I were together about a year. Early on in the relationship, she had mentioned wanting to get some tattoos. I told her that she had every right to do so since it's her body, but I find tattoos very unattractive, and I would likely break up if she went through with it. It became a small fight, and she was cold and passive-aggressive about it for a few days, but eventually she said she understood and would not be getting the tattoos done. Fast forward to about 2 months ago, and she makes another attempt to get me on board with tattoos. I reiterate my stance and tell her again that she can do it, but I won't stick around if she does. I went out of town to visit my cousin for a week, and I come home to her with a partial sleeve done. Her arm was basically one big scab. I ask her what's going on, and she just nonchalantly says that her and her best friend had talked and agreed that I was being unreasonable, so she went ahead and used my time out of town to get it done so that I wouldn't be around to be a buzzkill about it. She said she got as much as the guy was willing to do in one sitting inked, and once she was healed, she planned to get it extended. The tattoo was already a deal breaker for me, but the blatant disrespect and the casual way that she was implying that my opinion didn't matter broke my feelings for her right there. We fought, and eventually she just told me to get the hell out and locked herself in the bathroom. Thank God she did this when she did, because I was close to not renewing my lease at my apartment and moving in with her. I packed my shit up and I left while she shit-talked me to her best friend on the phone. I dropped her stuff off from my place the next day. She told me that I was making a huge mistake and throwing a good thing away for petty reasons. I just handed her the bag and left. That was weeks ago. I didn't hear from her until today. She called me. Here's a brief summary of the call. She says, "Okay, the petty drama has run its course. You can move back in and move on, okay?" I say, "No, we are broken up. It's over permanently. I don't want to get back together." And she says, "We aren't getting back together. This was just a spat that got out of hand. You freaked out and left in a huff, and I know you're just too proud to admit that you're wrong, so we'll just call it even and you can come back." I say, "No. I told you repeatedly that tattoos are a deal breaker. You did it anyway, and then disrespected me on top of that with the way that you went about it. We're done. You can move on now. Find a guy that finds your new ink attractive, because I find it repulsive and wouldn't be able to look at you or that arm again." The conversation goes in circles for a bit before I hang up, and then she tries sending me some nudes in an attempt to seduce me, but her body does nothing for me now, and her sleeve was visible, which, even after it healed, was gross and unflattering. I told her that I deleted them and to leave me alone. Blocked. She then messaged me on Snap saying that she never agreed to a breakup and that I owed her a conversation face to face if I wanted to end things. Blocked again. I know it's bad form to be a guy calling his ex crazy, but this girl is nuts. In the comments, Shonsu says, "A breakup is not a debate, and it doesn't need a consensus agreement. She doesn't understand consent. A relationship or sex can take place if both parties agree. If either party does not consent it, then it cannot. You two were just incompatible. Nothing wrong with breaking up over it. On to the next adventure." OP says, "Could you please let her know that she's supposed to be on the new adventure? She seems to think that we're still on the old one." IGW Buffalo says, "Be prepared for the crazy to really start now. If you have any shared friends still, make sure that it's clear that you have ended the relationship. It has been over since she got the tattoo. Any further attempt for her to contact me is harassment and/or stalking behavior and will be reported to the police. Feel free to unblock her and let her be left on red to gather any further evidence of harassment and stalking behaviors." OP replies, "I hope she doesn't escalate, but my friends know that we are broken up. A few of her friends know as well. Her best friend seems to share her opinion that we are still together though. If she shows up to bother me, there are cameras all over the place here." Consistent Primary says, "She will blame you as well, and many will side with her. Be ready to say, well, if you've already made your decision that I'm at fault without talking to me, then I want nothing to do with such a low-quality friend of such poor character. I thought we were friends, and I deserved my side. I guess you just suck as a friend." OP replies, "Strangely enough, even her friends who have reached out to me said they don't blame me. The only person who is on her side is her best friend. Even my friends with tattoos fully support my decision and don't think that I've been shallow or controlling as the commenters here seem to think." Back up to the post, there's an edit. "I find all the talk about me being shallow pretty funny, considering that she told me that if I ever gained weight or stopped going to the gym, that she would leave me. Hell, she put on weight throughout our entire relationship, and it never once made me consider leaving her. I still found her beautiful. When she changed her hair color to colors that I didn't like, I never said a bad word to her about it. I was supportive. I didn't like it, but it wasn't a deal breaker." One last edit. "This was great. The subreddit is really great for getting things off your chest. I had a lot of fun reading responses, and while I didn't need validation to know what I did was right, I still appreciate the supportive folks. The negative ones accusing me of being shallow, controlling, weird, and all sorts of other things because I have a preference were fun too. Didn't change my mind one bit, but I'm glad you guys were able to get those things off your chests as well." Honestly, fair enough, OP. I support you. You set a boundary, you said this is a deal breaker for me. It's your body, your choice. You go ahead and do whatever you want, but if you do it, I'm not going to continue being in this relationship with you anymore. I do not side with anyone that is saying that you're being controlling as a result of that. You're not saying you're not allowed to get that, you can't get that. If that's something that is not your preference, if that's not something that you don't want, that is perfectly okay. Dating is inherently discriminatory, and people need to accept that. You cannot force anyone else to date you, no one else can force you to date them, especially if there are deal breakers that exist that are fundamental for you, like tattoos. There's nothing wrong with that. She is being crazy here. She is overreacting, and she is being very weird. I 100% agree with you on that one, OP. I think just keep her blocked and keep her far away. And now, onto the update. I came here a week ago to vent about a strange situation with my ex getting a tattoo and it resulting in us breaking up. Weeks later, she acted like our breakup was just a spat and that I was being unreasonable. I told her that we were broken up permanently and blocked her. She then tried to message me on other platforms demanding a face-to-face meeting because she never agreed to the breakup. In the end, the tattoo was a secondary cause of our breakup in my mind. She disregarded what we had spoken and agreed about early on in the relationship. When I didn't give her the supportive response that she wanted, she proceeded to belittle and insult me and then kicked me out of her home, which we were close to having me move into full-time. Then she locked herself in the bathroom and loudly insulted me while on the phone with her best friend, whom had been the one to convince her to get a tattoo while I was out of town. At that point, we were done. I took my stuff back to my place and brought her stuff from mine back to hers. She showed up at my place last night with a bag full of my bathroom stuff from her place. Just a bottle of body wash and a few other things. She asked to come in and talk, but I stepped outside and we talked out front where the cameras could see. She asked if I really was breaking up with her over a tattoo, and I reiterated that it was about more than the tattoo at this point, and that I wasn't breaking up with her. I already broke up with her weeks ago. She tried to argue with me that our relationship was stronger than that, but I told her that it wasn't. That while I was comfortable with her, this whole incident made me realize that I wasn't happy with her. Her treating me poorly was the wake-up call that we both needed to go our separate ways and find people that we could truly be happy with. She kept trying to argue that this was crazy and that I was throwing away a good thing. I told her that I wish she had just gotten the tattoo when we started dating. We could have broken up and just been friends. She said she had considered it, but decided she'd rather be with me than get the tattoo. So she lied to me when she said she was okay with not getting one. Then when I went on my trip, her best friend convinced her to get it and claimed that I'd get over it and stick around. The guy that did the first part of her sleeve was an old friends with benefits of her friend and agreed to do it for a discount. Conversation sort of went in circles for a bit, then she tossed the bag at me and left crying, yelling, "Fine, we're effing over then." So that's that. She showed up at my place like a lot of people predicted, but no stabby stabs or anything. Friend told me that she made a bunch of vague posts about heartbreak on social media, but I haven't seen any of it. Regardless of how things went down, I hope she heals and finds herself someone who can be more supportive of her choices than I was. Thanks to those people who offered me support for my decision, and to everyone calling me shallow, controlling, and weird for my stance on tattoos, I gotta say I had a blast reading those comments. Absolutely hilarious. In the comments, Taylor5 says, her best friend convinced her to get it and claimed that I'd get over it and stick around. I really want to know how their friendship is going. And OP says, I wish I had an answer for you, but I don't really know. Make some calls. This random stranger on the internet wants to know. This random stranger. That's me. I am that nosy. I want to know. OP says, I have a friend who has been in full-blown Snoop mode the last few weeks after the drama. If there's anything to find, she'll tell me. She is loving this nonsense. Maverick Knight says, sounds like your friend is the detective that we all need. Keep us updated. Citrine Sky says, she sounds awesome. Does she have tattoos? I'm getting friends to lovers vibes. But please update us. I want to know if they're still friends. Any chance her friend is secretly in love with her? Maybe I've just read too many romance stories. OP says, She's happily married, and we've always just been good friends. She introduced me to a friend of hers the other day, though, and she and I have been texting a lot, so there's that. I never got a vibe from her friend that she was ever interested in my ex like that. But if that's the case, and they end up together, then good for them, honestly. Similar Shame says, I disagree with you. Breaking up with me is a bold strategy that I've never seen anyone try before. I remember that being on Seinfeld, when two of George's girlfriends refused to break up with him at the same time. Guys, now I need one of you to give them the Uno Reverso card. Say, actually, I refuse to be broken up with, and I need to know how that goes. Obviously, it didn't go too well for OP here, but we need more sample sizing. It is so heinous that I don't think I've heard of this before either. How have I been doing this for 6 years, and we're still finding things that continue to blow my mind? I thought I'd seen it all. I've seen a couch, I've seen an art room, I've seen men enjoying their lives together in Ibiza, if that's how you say it. There's nothing wrong with doing that. And now I have seen someone refuse to be broken up with. We're truly breaking new grounds in this world, guys. I don't know why she needed to have that conversation with him. In all honesty, what was the point of it? Did she really think that giving him more details about how and why she made the decision was going to change anything? Was that going to make him not break up with her? I need her to come and tell us what her thought process was, because maybe that will cure cancer, who knows? It is some truly out-of-the-box thinking that I have never seen in my life. Our next post is by a user, OKBig8626, and it's titled, Am I the asshole for telling the real reason that I'm no longer a bridesmaid? I, 25 female, have been friends with Cami, 25 female, since kindergarten when her family moved next door to mine when we were both 6. We've been through everything together, and once considered the other as a sister. We both have even moved to the same states to be closer to one another. About 2 years ago, Cami started dating Andrew, 36 male, who I did not like. He was a lot older than her, and just did not seem like the right guy for her. A 34-year-old dating a 23-year-old is a crazy life experience gap. Not to say that it's like danger territory or anything, but I can see where OP's coming from. She once asked me what I thought of him at the beginning of their relationship, and I told her of my opinion of him being too old, but she told me that everything was fine, and that age was just a number. I honestly didn't see anything else bad about him, so I eventually learned to let that go, but always had that uneasy feeling about him. 8 months ago, Andrew proposed to Cami, and she immediately asked me to be a bridesmaid. I said yes and was happy for her. Her wedding was in late February of this year. In early November, Cami comes over to my apartment to tell me that she had been actively cheating on Andrew for the past 6 months with some guy from her work. Cami, no! She told me that Andrew found out, and instead of getting angry with her, asked for her forgiveness and wanted to know as to how he could be a better partner for her because he was failing her. Oh my god, what is wrong with these two? She said the reason that she was telling me was to go ahead and get it off her chest before I found out from someone else and thought badly of her. When she told me, I could tell she had no remorse and didn't even regret her cheating. I was shocked and asked if she regretted what she did, and she said that it hurt her to see Andrew so upset, but she explained that things were so hot at work that the tension was too much for her and her coworker to ignore. I told her that I was no longer going to be a bridesmaid and wasn't going to attend her wedding because I don't associate myself with cheaters and no longer support her marriage. Especially since she didn't think what she did was wrong. Cami got very mad at me and told me off and eventually blocked me on everything. I never explained to anyone about her cheating for my reason as to why I chose not to go, and I made sure not to talk bad about Cami to anyone who asked because I did consider her to be a sister. We have not talked since that day, and I know that she and Andrew got married. Fast forward to last week. I'm out with my boyfriend at a coffee shop where I run into one of Cami's bridesmaids that is also one of her co-workers. She walked up to me and asked how I was, and I said I was fine, and told her that it was good to see her. She then apologized for being too forward, but wanted to know if Cami and I ever made up after our incident before the wedding. Confused, I asked what the incident was, and she eventually told me that Cami explained to the bridal party that I chose to leave because of my feelings for Andrew, and that I couldn't see him get married because of how I felt. No! Oh, I hate you, Cami. I hate you even more now. Please, OP, do something about this woman. I was appalled. Not only did I not have any romantic feelings for Andrew, I never even really liked him. I told the bridesmaid that the reason I left was because of Cami's affair with her co-worker, who she knows as well because they all work together. When I told her that, the bridesmaid said that she remembered Cami and the co-worker being close, but didn't know about the affair. She left the coffee shop not long after the conversation, and I felt guilty about telling her that since I haven't told anyone. My boyfriend says me telling her that makes it look as if I'm trying to hurt Cami and Andrew, and therefore making it seem as if I do like Andrew. Am I the asshole for telling her that? I don't know if she told Cami I said that, and I don't know how Cami and Andrew are doing, but I do feel bad that I shared her business to someone that she works with. In the comments, not the asshole. You were simply correcting a lie. Cami didn't need to come up with a lie to explain away your departure from the bridal party. You have every right to defend yourself. I feel sorry for Andrew. Hopefully he'll one day realize his worth and accept that his wife's infidelity is not his fault. It seems likely that you would have kept this secret forever until she did the one thing necessary to bring the story out into the public again. She had it coming. I could never fault you for doing this. You were a good person who handled things well. Look, for what it's worth, she's headed for a divorce sooner or later anyway. Her life is hell, she'll get hers, she's getting it now. You're a fine person. Carry on. I don't even know if I applaud you for keeping the cheating to yourself, because if it were me, I'd be going straight to Andrew and being like, hey, brother, we gotta do something about this, man. You can't be going around apologizing for her cheating. Please grow a spine. We gotta get you out of here. It's insane that brain-dead people like Cami will be able to convince people like OP to keep something that is very defamatory but true about them and their private business to themselves. And they go, oh, sweet, I got away with locking down that rumor that would burn my life to the ground. I'm going to take another mile, and I'm also going to defame that person. I'm going to do everything in my power to hurt that person, but also at the same time, make sure they keep that secret of mine locked down. What is running through these people's minds that they think they can get away with that, and that, they then get mad at OP being like, how dare you tell people that I was cheating? Why would you do that? What did I do to deserve this? I'm the victim here. I'm rooting for you, OP. You can burn her life down to the ground. You can save Andrew. You can make things right. Please. And now, onto the update. I feel like whenever I post on here, something immediately happens resulting in an update. Cami's other bridesmaid, who I saw at the coffee shop, reached out to me last night through Facebook. I'll call her Jenna. Guess whose mugshot was posted on a local news site? Andrew. Mugshot? What did my boy do? I won't exactly say what he did, but it involves his work computer, personal computer, and phone. So you can make your assumptions from that. Oh, that's not good. I don't like you anymore, Andrew. Cami reached out to Jenna a few nights ago, crying, saying that Andrew had been arrested while on shift because of what the IT guy found on his work computer. Oh, Andrew's going to hell, isn't he? Jenna decided to tell me because Cami mentioned to her how I always felt uneasy about Andrew and how she should have listened. Jenna asked Cami why would I, because I was so in love with him, and that's when Cami came clean and told her about the lie and about her affair with their co-worker. Cami went on to explain that ever since her and Andrew married, Andrew became very physical with her because of her affair. He waited until there was a ring on her finger to really tell her how he felt about the cheating. I asked Jenna if Cami said anything about still seeing the co-worker while they were married, and Jenna said Cami is still seeing him, but swears that it's just friendship now. That's why Andrew was so upset with her. Jenna did admit to me that she told Cami that she saw me the other day, which made Cami ask if she'd think that I'd be willing to talk to her. Jenna told her that she didn't know, but could try to see what would happen. Cami hasn't reached out to me yet, and I don't know if she will. I don't know what I'll do if she does, but that's the update about her for now. I've noticed there were a few people in my last post talking about my boyfriend's response. To let you know, I did ask him about it, and he said that he was more worried about how it made me look in that moment. I'll accept that answer for now, but if he acts up, I will definitely think about things. So far, he's been great. But that's it, hopefully. I'll probably update if Cami ever reaches out, but I'm kind of hoping she doesn't. In the comments, you had every right to clear your name on a lie that was told about you. Nobody will ever be the asshole for that. Cami doesn't sound like a good person, so I'd hold her at a very far arm's length if she does try to reach out. Stop wondering if she'll reach out to you and just block her already. Unless you enjoy eating popcorn as you watch her drama unfold, there's really nothing there for you, is there? Can you ever truly respect her like you did before you found out? Man, I just disconnect from that flaming garbage patch entirely. This is just the stuff of nightmares, and it's like Michael from The Office where he's like, snip, snap, snip, snap, snip, you can't keep making me go both sides. I feel for Cami. She is a victim of a multitude of different forms of domestic violence and domestic assault by the sounds of it, but at the same time, she has wronged OP so much. This is like one of those moral questions. Given all of the context of the situation so far, is OP morally obligated to help out? Or not? I don't know the answer to this one. This situation is insane. All I know is that Andrew needs to go to jail yesterday, and Cami probably needs some therapy. And now, onto the second update. Cami reached out to me. I was starting to think that she wasn't going to, but she texted me last night asking if we could talk. I responded, "Is this about your husband being in jail?" And she immediately called me. She was crying. She kept saying she had no idea that Andrew was like that and wished she paid more attention to how I felt about him. I told her that I had no idea that he was doing that and that I'm sorry for how he was. She said something about being a hot divorcee and a few other things about this finally freeing her, as if she wasn't actively cheating on Andrew throughout most of their relationship. Oh man, that's so messy. She then asked how I was doing. She didn't even apologize for spreading that lie about me liking her husband. I asked if we were going to talk about what she said to the bridal party about my absence. She paused, laughed, and then asked me if I really was upset over something that wasn't as bad as what Andrew ended up doing. Oh, I can't deal with this person. This is so insane. I'm doing it. I'm diagnosing her with sociopathy. That is one step down from psychopathy. I just hung up. I probably wouldn't have if I didn't read your comments on my last update saying not to give her the time of day, and you all were right. She does not care about me after all we've been through together. I blocked her number, so I don't know if she tried to reach out again, but I'm done. But that's the update. In the comments, Technical Lobster says, "The trash took itself out. Keep it that way." Wow, Cami sounds like a real gem. Good on you for cutting that toxic friendship out of your life. And as for Andrew, sounds like karma caught up to him. Hashtag Team Divorcee. She was an awful person too, who continues to cheat on their partner, spread lies, and shows no remorse. She should be treated as toxic waste. Good on you for blocking her. Yet again, you are entitled to the factual, objective truth. You are not entitled to someone else's lies or opinions. You owe someone nothing who mistreats you. As I said many times to my ex, if you don't like the consequences of your actions, then perhaps you should have made better choices. We aren't responsible for the consequences of your actions, which is our choice. Go deal with your own fallout. Man, the ex-friend really is a self-centered asshole. The husband probably gave the feeling of being the center of the world because he would have forgiven her for anything and everything. That's why she stayed with him. I hope them both the life that they deserve. I have just been sent through the ringer. That was another roller coaster of a story. It's not one that I'm going to reference in the comments being like, oh, guys, remember that Andrew story? It reminds me of a certain prince, and I will not be going down that road, no siree. I do wish that OP gave her a piece of her mind about not even addressing the fact that she slandered OP to everyone in the bridal party, and probably a bunch of other friends as well, and was not remorseful about it, did not care. Even when she had it brought up to her face, plain daylight, nah. Oh, you still care about that? God. Anyway, how's the weather today? I would have read her to filth for that one, because I'm a petty asshole. In fact, I'm a certified asshole. Go watch the podcast. It's really funny. Link in the description, link in the pinned comment. You know you want to watch it. It's me and Jack rambling for an hour and a half every week, doing exactly what I'm doing right now, but in real life and having a conversation. Am I the asshole here for telling my mum that I'm used to it after my parents ruined the surprise of my engagement and the wedding dress? I, 27 female, am getting married in September of 2025. I'm in a long-distance relationship. My partner lives in England and I'm in the US. We're lucky enough that I work remote and visit about 3 times a year for 6 weeks at a time. And he visits me in the US about 4 times a year for once a week. When he was planning to propose, he'd asked my parents' blessing in March 2024. My parents had assumed that I would know when he was proposing, and my dad told me in a conversation that following week he was proposing in December 2024. As you could imagine, I was upset. My mother invalidated my feelings and said I was making it a big deal and being stupid for not assuming that it was going to be during Christmas, because that's when both of our families were together. My argument is that while I could have had a hunch, I didn't want to be told when it was, and basically could have gone practically a whole year wondering excitedly when it would be. For all I know, he could have proposed before that, and Christmas we would have had an engagement party. Anyway, basically my dad apologized, but my mum has stood firm on saying I'm dramatic for being upset. Since then, more things have gone wrong, and has started to leave me just so sad about the wedding planning. None of this has been a good experience, and I've started to feel like it's a chore. Flash forward to today, my partner is visiting just for 1 week, and we're all sitting on the couch in the living room. My mum randomly turns to me and goes, "Have you picked up your veil from the bride store yet?" Right in front of him, and then my partner smiles and goes, "Oh, you're wearing a veil?" And I just got super frustrated. There were only 2 surprises in a wedding, the engagement and the dress, and both of them have been handled so carelessly. So I turned to my mum and said, "Can you please not mention anything about the dress? Not the shoes, nothing. I don't want him knowing anything." She rolls her eyes, walks around, and about 10 minutes later gives a half-hearted apology, just saying, "Sorry, OP." And I replied, "It's fine. I'm used to it at this point." And now she's gone back and locked herself in the room. So I guess, am I the asshole for being upset? Edit. I know a lot of people are asking if this is like her, and it isn't. She's already had one of her 4 daughters get married. I'm the second. She never ruined the engagement or the dress, and she seemed to care a whole lot more about her than she has me during this time. Second edit. Nowadays, a lot of brides opt to wear veils, tiaras, sometimes hats, or embellishments, or nothing at all. I forgot to mention that my fiancé had told me he didn't want to know if I was wearing a veil or anything and wanted it all to be a surprise. Since he's very mild-tempered and sweet, he was surprised, but was trying to be nice in his reaction because he knew I'd be upset. In the comments, Substantial Air says, "Not the asshole. Put your parents on an information diet. Also, know in the future, they are always gonna do this. Maybe be prepared for some oddball wedding toast from them. I'm used to it at this point." Brilliant, well-deserved answer, and now she's sulking in her room. Leave her there. Yup, let her stay in there as long as she wants to. Don't give her the attention that she's looking for. Your mother sounds toxic. Stop telling her things. The last time my mum pulled, "I must be a horrible mother," I replied in front of my siblings, "Yes, try to do better in the future." She hasn't pulled it out in over 5 years. My mum is not a terrible person, but she was raised Catholic, and the guilt tripping is second nature. I just think that OP's mum is intentionally being an asshole in this story. She's intentionally being a horrible person. If she didn't do it with the first daughter to get married, then she knows damn well she's not supposed to be doing it now. But she just wants attention. She is such an attention-seeking loser. Look at her go crying off to her room like that. How pathetic. Oh no, I got called out for my bad actions? Oh, you're used to it? I must be a horrible mother. Yes, Opie, tell it to her face. She is a horrible mother, and she deserves to feel horrible for doing it, so that she can stop doing it. That'd be nice. It'd be nice to start shaming people that deserve to feel shame. Not the asshole OP. What is wrong with her? And now, on to the update. So, for context, a lot of things have gone wrong since we've been in talks of getting engaged. Obviously, my dad had told me about the engagement, but then other things went wrong, like my partner's sister causing drama the day before our engagement, the day of our engagement going horribly wrong, to the point my partner told me that he would propose again, finding out last month that my partner's dad got remarried a year ago in secret. Oh my god. We didn't even know that he was dating anyone, and him asking for a +1 for the wife that no one had even heard of, while also telling my partner that he's ridiculous for being upset because it isn't a big deal, and my best friend bailing on my bachelorette for someone else's. So it's safe to say that since December, it's been stressful, and those are only the bigger issues I mentioned. OP, at this point, just elope, just get out of there. This entire situation is shambles. I know everyone was saying that my mum should be on an info diet. She already was by her own choice. She hasn't asked or been a part of anything by her own design, and it's felt like she couldn't care less about the wedding. The only time that she has cared was when she found out that we were only inviting 40 people, and people that she wanted there were not invited. Like her friends, who I barely see or know, and her brother and cousin, who I both haven't seen since I was like 11. That's when she insisted on paying for them so they could come. And that's the only time that she asked about anything having to do with the wedding, or to be honest, anything involving me. She hasn't checked in to see if me and my partner are okay, given all of the other stuff that has happened either. So I ended up speaking with my mum a little while after what happened, and I told her that while I know I shouldn't have said I'm used to it, that ultimately I'm upset because it seems nothing has gone right. She seemed apologetic at first and said she didn't know why she said that and knew that she shouldn't have. I nodded and said just please don't say anything else regarding what you know about the dress. She was there when I got the dress and veil with my sisters, and I then told her that I'm just tired of things going wrong and that my partner and I have felt super unsupported and alone. She responded back, starting her sentence with, OP, only a handful of things have happened. I feel like you're looking for things to be upset about at this point. And to be honest, when she said that, I kinda lost it. I basically said that I didn't go looking for any of this, and all of these things that have happened to my fiancé and I were out of our control. Like, you're the one who brought up the veil, not me. I didn't go looking for any of these issues. I told her that if there was one problem, then fine, I'd have handled it and moved on, but that the repeated offenses coming from every angle have hurt me and my partner. I've been trying to get over what's occurred, but something else happens to make the wedding planning even harder on us. I told her that my fiancé and I have both felt super alone during a time that is supposed to be joyful, and that her carelessness and thoughtlessness has been super hurtful, especially when she's continually invalidated my feelings. She shrugged and said that she's done nothing, and she's not going to talk to me or ask me about other problems going on because I've been upset and she doesn't want to deal with it. After a lot of your comments, I realized that I definitely was attempting to include someone who was shown not only that they should not be, but that they don't want to be. My partner leaves back to the UK today, but at this point, I'm considering eloping with him, if I can, when I'm visiting him in England in May. We've already paid half of what we owe to our venue and photographer, so cancelling isn't really an option, but maybe we'll just have the reception instead of the ceremony. Thank you to the commenters who pointed out that if we ever have children, to keep the important moments to ourselves of gender or birth date or names. I think you're right, and my mum has pretty much ensured that she will be on a permanent information diet for as long as she is in my life, because if not, she'll more than likely spoil it and then invalidate my feelings. I think ultimately it wasn't about the veil for me. I know my partner will still be surprised, and I'm just sad because he told me he didn't want an idea of anything and wanted to be completely clueless about what I would be wearing. But ultimately, this was about the continued thoughtlessness and invalidation that's pretty much been the theme for the last 4 months. If my mum had said that she was sorry and left it, it would have been fine, but acting like I went looking to be upset when she randomly ruins yet another detail is just wild to me. Edit. I also forgot to say, yes, I am moving to England. We are hoping to make that jump at the beginning of 2026. Second edit. I know a lot of people are saying completely cancel the venue, but we already have friends and family from my fiance's side who have bought their flight tickets to come. At least 10 have already confirmed. I don't think I have the heart in me to cost people that kind of money when they've already invested into this. Third edit. I'm not sure if my mum cares that I'm moving. I'm in England for 6 to 8 weeks at a time every few months, so she's already used to me leaving for a significant amount of time. She doesn't seem sad I'm leaving, and if anything, has said she understands why I'm moving. If she is sad, or that's the real reason behind all of this, I'd actually be super surprised. I won't rule it out, but my mum isn't the type to care that much about that sort of thing. In the comments, marry quietly. Just you, him, and a couple of people who truly love you. Then do the reception with the assholes. Nah, don't do the reception nor any anniversary parties. The assholes will screw that up along with any childbirths and major milestones or achievements into making it all about themselves too. Classy Catman says, my mother-in-law actually invited a bunch of people to our wedding and then informed us. My wife's response was, okay, it's on you to uninvite them because they aren't welcome and won't be allowed into the venue. Hang in there. Focus on the part that's important, the end result. The rest is just pomp and circumstance in the grand scheme. Pink Petal Bella says, not the arsehole. You didn't go looking for problems, people kept handing them to you. Your mum isn't just thoughtless, she's emotionally dismissive, and you're right to finally stop handing her opportunities to hurt you. Eloping sounds honestly peaceful after everything. Protect your joy, because clearly some people will never show up for it the way you deserve. I'm with the comments here. That mum sounds broken. She sounds like she does not care, she does not even want OP in her life. OP is just a means to an end. OP is there to facilitate her relationships with other people that she cares more about because, how dare OP not invite the cousin and all these other people that OP hasn't really seen in the relevant, formative years of their life. That's the only time that she has communicated to OP about the wedding post this blow up. Obviously, as OP has said, there's a lot of other events that OP has not touched upon that are probably major things, I'm going to assume. They are major events. But yeah, when you compare it to these big blow-ups at the start of that post, I can see why they are thought of as small peanuts. Just that opening paragraph gave me a headache, and I want so desperately for OP to come back after the wedding and tell us how they quietly eloped, they are moving to England, they are getting away from all of this mess. That would be a breath of fresh air for me. But thank you for the post, OP, and I hope all goes well. Our next post is by user Expensive Son, and it's titled, My mum took my cheating ex-girlfriend's side over mine, and I can never forgive her. I was raised by a single mum. My dad died 2 years after I was born. I focused on my career for the most part of my life, and my mum supported me doing that. But when I was 20, I met my ex-girlfriend, and we got together. We were colleagues first, but she told me that she'd work in a different sector soon. In her new workplace, she met a new guy who she fell in love with while being in a relationship with me. I only found out because she admitted to having sex with him to me after she went out for girls' night, quote-unquote, with her friends. I immediately broke up with her and I threw her out. A few hours of me trying to process what happened, my mum calls and shouts at me that she hadn't raised me like this. I was confused and asked what she meant, and she said that my ex-girlfriend accused me of cheating on her and that she found proof of that on my phone. I couldn't believe what I just heard. I tried to talk to my mother, telling her that the exact opposite is true and that she had cheated on me, but she didn't believe me. Part of the reason is probably because she and my mum truly loved each other. I never had a problem with that. Until then, I liked how they got along with each other. My mother called me a liar, and she said she would disinherit me from her will as she's not having a cheater as a son. She said she never wants to see me again. Then later, my grandparents called me to tell me how disappointed they are in me and that I deserved every bad thing that is to come. You know what the worst thing was? I found out that my cheating ex-girlfriend continued to meet with my mum after everything she did. All of this was so painful for me. The only person that sided with me was my best friend, who was furious with her. I talked to him, and he hugged me, and I cried in his arms. I know many people would think that's unusual for two guys, but his support really helped me getting through this. 1 year later, when I already was over it, my doorbell rang, and when I opened it, I saw my mum with teary eyes. And I began to feel how my emotions are coming up, and I slammed the door and started crying, asking her what the hell she wants. She said she wanted to talk to me, and that she was so sorry. After she begged for 15 minutes straight, I gave in and opened the door. She said my ex admitted that she cheated when she was drunk. She apologized profusely and said that she knows that she failed as a mother, not believing her own child. I told her that I accept her apology, but I don't want to see her now, and that I probably can never forgive her. Even though she begged me to forgive her, over the last few months, she started calling me daily just to hear my voice, as she said. She said that she missed me and then apologized again and asked if I could just come over. Her voice always sounded kinda painful, and she always said how much she loves me and that she could even understand that I hate her. She cannot live with this thought in her head. I don't even hate her. I still love her. She is still my mum, but the trust is broken. I can never trust her again, because what if I got into a relationship again? Who says that she wouldn't just believe their words over mine? I appreciate her efforts, but I just cannot forgive her or even see her now, and I hope she understands that I need time. In the comments, make her tell your grandparents the truth. The fact that she ruined your reputation in your family is disgusting. I know what having a mother like that is like, and believe me, no contact is better than the potential risk of stress and chaos that they can bring to your life again, and they always will. That's the first thing that I would ensure, and secondly, that she can't ever ask to meet or ask about relationships, seeing as how she had betrayed me, and thirdly, I'd tell her that I will reach out when I want to and to stop harassing me. My mum told my grandparents terrible things about me for years, to the point where when they met my spouse, they'd ask him how she could handle me. Now they both have dementia and they don't remember any of it. It's so messed up that I'm relieved that they don't remember. Yet another horrible mother. That's 2 for 2 today. What in the goddamn is going on here? You know, I don't blame OP if they keep this mother on an information diet as well. Absolutely, you can smooth things over, you can work towards reconciliation, and I think you should. I think it would be for the best that you get back to a place of neutrality, maybe even bridging that gap with your mother and getting close with her again, but absolutely keep her on an information diet. She's shown that she can't be trusted, and you don't know if she's going to do it again in the future. Why would you risk that? Genuinely, why would you risk that? I don't know. But that's not me. Maybe I'm projecting. I want OP to be protected, and it doesn't seem as though their mother will protect OP. They will hurt OP again. And now, on to the update. Hi there. After reading too many comments yesterday, I decided to meet with my mum today to clarify everything. I texted her to come over, and she didn't hesitate. She literally appeared at my door within 15 minutes. Many of you pointed out good points that I should ask her. Even though she called me several times, we rarely really talked. So when she came over, I sat her down in the living room. There, I asked about my grandparents, her will, and if she is still in contact with my ex. She explained that she had told my grandparents and she expected them to call me, but it seems like they were too stubborn. She also said that I'm in her will again. She then started talking shit about my ex. She then said that she found out that she punched her so hard that my ex lost a few teeth. I very much doubt the accuracy of this story detail, but I wanted to share it anyway because, for me, it was a funny thing to think about. She said that she told her to F off and threw her out of her house. She then again started apologizing profusely and telling me that she knows how hard she messed up and that I can probably never trust her, but she wants to do everything in her power to make this right. She explained that the man before my father had cheated on her, so infidelity was a sensitive topic for her. And then she said that she regrets not believing me or even remotely hearing my side of the story. I sat quiet while she explained all of this. I then asked her how I know that I could trust her now. What would happen if I got into a similar situation and if she would just throw me away again? She said I have her word, and I replied that her word is basically meaningless, as I don't trust her in the first place. She didn't reply to that answer properly, and again begged me to forgive her. I told her that I cannot forgive her for now, and maybe I will never be able to forgive her, but I also see her efforts, and if she wants me in her life again, then she has to show me that I can count on her. She started tearing up. I could tell that she tried to hold in her tears the entire time, but then she broke down crying, and with a whimpering voice, she asked if she could at least give me a hug. I accepted that, and she said that she's going to make this right no matter what it takes, and then she left. Now, while I'm kinda touched in how she shows how much she regrets doing what she did, I am really concerned about my own reaction. When she broke down and I saw my own mother there on the floor crying, I didn't feel anything. I wasn't sad, I wasn't angry, I wasn't happy, and I certainly didn't show any sort of empathy for her. I just couldn't. During the year of having no contact with her, I refused to go to therapy. Maybe it's not too late to do that now. In the end, I want to thank all of you for your nice comments and support. I tried to read every single one of your comments, but the post kind of exploded way more than I expected. Have a nice day. In the comments, Strange View says, "It's normal to not feel anything after her apologies. You've been betrayed by her, she picked someone else's side instead of yours, and never tried to hear your side of the story. I'm sure that if your ex hadn't been drunk and didn't spill the truth, she would still have been on her side, I think. And it's just my opinion that her betrayal shocked you so much, and you were so used to it by now to look without her that something broke inside of you, and that's why you felt nothing. I think you should probably try going to therapy because you might have bottled up a lot of things, and you need to talk about it and evaluate those thoughts to maybe start to feel better. You don't have to forgive your mother, even though she has begged and cried. And with what she did to you and how she picked your ex over you, her own child, I don't think that you could ever trust her. She broke it, and she has to live with the consequences of her own choices. Don't feel bad, OP, and I hope everything will go well for you in the future." And now on to the latest update, 4 months later, titled, "How I'm Currently Doing." Hi guys. Some of you probably waited for an update considering the last time I gave an update was 4 months ago. Okay, so I was in therapy, and I feel so much better now. It doesn't mean that I forgot what happened. I honestly have to admit my mum really improved herself though. I moved into a new apartment last month, and when I asked her to help, she immediately said yes, even though the day of me moving was a day where she had important appointments in her job, which she cancelled to be there for me. She calls me almost every day to ask me how I am. Sometimes she even drives to my workplace to leave me a bit of lunch there. She also visits me at home just to see me. She says she wants to hear my voice. I still cannot fully trust her. I'm in therapy, but I'm not sure if I ever will be able to. But I do recognize her efforts to make things right. She also talked to my grandparents again and made them apologize, but I could not care less about them. They were still dickheads even after the truth came out. Some of you might be interested in what happened to my ex. The last thing I heard from her was that the guy that she cheated on me with has now cheated on her too. He just saw her as some kind of fling. but that's just hearsay from the friends of my best friend. I don't know if it's true or not, and I don't really care about her at all. But if it was true, it would be great karma though. Thank you so much for your support. I'll try to keep you updated if anything happens that is worth being told here. In the comments, Captain Bao Bao says, I remember the first post, and frankly, I didn't expect an update. The past will never come back, obviously, but things evolve in your favor. One point that hits me is the reproduction. Your mother has been cheated, your ex-girlfriend cheated on you. Basically, your mother cheated on you with your ex-girlfriend, in a way that she replaced her legit son with a substitute daughter with which she felt so well. Her drunkenness was not from alcohol, but from the happiness of having a daughter. All in all, your mother did what she accused you of doing, and I suspect she is conscious of her own brand of cheating. So I fully approve your distrust. Her abandonment is far more than being a victim of lies and being stubborn. It's a programmed behavior that she must address in therapy. It can happen again because she does not have conscious power over it. Somehow, it can be compared to an addiction. You had the right sentence. Her words hold no value anymore, and if she cannot live now without hearing your voice once a day, you did it very easily for a full year. But you're a good guy. You allowed her to try again. You don't feel nothing? Well, of course you don't. That double treason by the people you loved the most is incredibly hurtful. To survive, your mind disconnected the emotion that would render you unable to act and think in a secure way. There's matter to suicide here. Soon, anger and sadness will come back. Accept them. They are already there, hidden. Better to have them in plain sight. It'll probably hurt your mother, but far less than your indifference. She'll probably be relieved that you at last gave her the screamings that she earned, because it means that she may atone eventually. This stain will never go away, but you can both live with it if properly managed. Peace on you. And there's another update, 2 months later, titled, I finally reciprocated her hug. Today was a big day for me, and hopefully I did the right thing. My mum visited me almost every day after work, told me about her day, and asked about mine. She always asks me if I feel okay and if she can do anything. And today we seriously had a good time. We watched a movie, she cooked something for me, and it was overall a really wonderful day. I can't lie. Every day when she left, she hugged me goodbye, but I never hugged her back. I was still careful. But when she did it today, I finally hugged her back and told her that I forgave her. My heart was beating really hard and fast when these words came out of my mouth. It took a lot of strength in me to say this, most likely because I absolutely had no idea what her reaction would be. A few months ago, I could have never imagined saying those words. She first looked at me with a surprised face, and from one second to another, she broke down in tears in my arms, thanking me repeatedly. I was kind of lost, and I didn't know how to respond. She just went on and on about how much she loves me and how proud of me she is to call me her son, because not everyone would have been able to forgive her after this huge mistake she made, and how she feels terrible that she ever thought I could be a cheater. And then she said that she will always be there for me and that she'll call me tomorrow. I'm not lying when I said that this entire moment felt like a scene out of a dramatic movie, but I'm here for it. She made a horrible mistake. I know that, but I can't hold this unforgiveness in my heart forever, especially after seeing all of the effort that she's put into our relationship. This might not be the update that some of you want to read, but I feel good the way it is, and that's what's important. In the comments, a deleted commenter says, "To err is human, to forgive divine." It's great that you were able to forgive her. It's hard, but you can see that she's really trying to fix her mistake and build a relationship with you again. I hope that she has learned from this event and will not jump to conclusions should something happen again and hear you out. I truly hope for the best for the both of you. Your mum did indeed treat you like trash for a year, but after this realization, she has truly put in the effort to show you that she cares about you. Your forgiveness has shown her that you're far better than the person she could have ever brought you up to be. Hoping for you to both mend and reconcile your relationship. Cheers. Yellow King Stay says, I'm usually on the team cut contact, but in this case, I can see why OP forgave and reconnected with his mother. She made the effort to fix the relationship and didn't ask something in return. But screw his grandparents. What scumbag people. It still bothers me that if the ex didn't confess, the mum may not have gone down this road of remorse. It wasn't even a confession. It was drunken rambling. The ex would have never admitted to anything otherwise, and mum would still be a bloody shit for brains for taking the ex at her word with zero proof to back it up. Yeah, and I'm happy that OP was able to go down this path of reconciliation as well, but there's so many ways this could have gone wrong, and there's so many universes where this never happened. I'm glad that they're at the point where they are at now, and that OP was able to forgive her, and they are able to build that relationship. I don't think it is something that was worth burning to the ground. But I'm still going to say, keep her at an arm's length. She took the ex's side with zero proof. She did not want to hear you out. She didn't give you an opportunity to defend yourself and hear the other side. She just went with the ex, and that's it. I'm surprised she even believed the ex's drunken ramblings and confession. It's an evil world we live in. She added a little bit more evil to it, and she is atoning for those sins, but really, learn from this, OP, and know that while she has made up for it now, there is always the possibility that she will do it again. Let's just hope that she has learned from this, and will not repeat the same mistakes of the past. Am I the asshole here for banning my wife's friend from my house after she pushed me for taking my drunk wife home? My wife is 27 and I am 28. My wife has a friend. A bit of a close friend. In fact, she's been friends with her since the last 2 years. I don't like her at all, and a lot of people find her insufferable. This weekend, my wife told me that she's going to her friend's house and she'll spend her evening and night at her place with her 2 other friends. I asked her if they'll drink, and she told me yes, but she won't go overboard this time, and she'll book a cab and come to home before 10. I told my wife that she won't book a cab, I'll come pick her up, and she shouldn't drink too much. She promised me she won't, but I had this feeling that she might drink too much, because my wife has tendencies of overdrinking, especially when she's excited and partying, so I went to pick her up an hour before. When I showed up at her friend's place, I saw all of these drunk women dancing, drinking, and screaming like they ran out of a mental asylum, and my wife was laying on the couch, clearly drunk. I grabbed my wife, and I told her that it's time to leave. Her friends stopped me and insisted to let my wife stay for a bit longer, and even my wife said to wait for a bit. I told them that they've been having fun and drinking for so many hours, and it's more than enough for today. When I tried to leave with my wife, her friend tried to stop me a bit, forcefully, and when I didn't listen to her, she pushed me and called me controlling and cursed me in front of everyone. I told her that the only reason I'm not retaliating is because she's a woman and I'm in her house, but from this moment, she's not allowed in my house, and if she comes over to my house ever again, I'll call the police. I left with my wife, and after we got home, I fed her, in which she puked at midnight and went to sleep with me, and she didn't sleep until midnight and didn't let me sleep either, and kept saying, my husband, and hugged me, and she kept complimenting me. I would be lying if I said I didn't enjoy that, but anyway, now all of her friends are telling me that I'm being a controlling husband, and I have no right to tell my wife what she can and can't do, and that I don't have the right to ban her friend from her house. Am I the asshole? Sure, I'm a bit angry, but my anger is not without reason, and if I appear as a controlling husband, I think my wife's situation warrants it, and I'm just doing what I think is best for my wife. In the comments, Opie responds to multiple comments about him being controlling over his wife's drinking and social habits. Opie replies, "How often I control my wife's drinking habits? As often as I can. I don't want her to die of alcohol poisoning or something of the sort when we're still so damn young. I'm not her father, I'm her husband. And if that makes me a controlling husband just because I'm making sure my wife doesn't overdrink and trying to save the life of the person I love the most, then I'll gladly accept that I am the most controlling husband on the planet alive." Bit dramatic, right? I feel the same way when I see my wife wasted, So if she can't control her drinking, then I'll do it on her behalf. I'm not sure how old you are, or if you're okay with your loved ones ruining their life, but I think alcohol is a real problem. At least what I think. I'm not sure about you. A commenter says, "We need more. What did your wife have to say the next day when the hangover passed, and she learned about all that happened?" OP says, "My wife didn't remember exactly what happened. My wife agreed with me when I told her that her friend is no longer allowed in my house. Her question to me was I really that drunk? And I just said yes, and I told her that I'm not letting her get that drunk like this ever again. She didn't meet or go over to her friend's house after that weekend, and she didn't drink more than a shot a day. I see improvement, and she's guilty, so I'm taking it slow with her and letting her think for herself." It's actually so stupid and concerning that most of the Redditors here are saying that I'm controlling, but do not understand my wife's drinking habits. I know my wife has a problem with alcohol, and I hope and pray to God that my wife would be just as controlling and do what needs to be done to help me escape my addiction if I asked her instead. My wife is addicted, and her friends are encouraging her instead of helping her stop. Do these commenters have any experience what it's like to live with an alcoholic, to clean puke at midnight? It's not in me to just give up on my love and find someone else. I would rather try my best to help my wife than just divorcing her and leave her on her own. I love her more than anything else, and if I have to become a controlling husband, I will, as long as she stops getting drunk like this. I will do whatever it takes to help her with her alcoholism, and if it makes me an abuser or a controlling husband, then I'm okay with that, as long as my wife is healthy and leads a good life without alcohol. I'm losing my mind by just reading these comments. Another commenter says, "Not the asshole. You weren't controlling. You were looking out for your wife's safety. She was too drunk to make good decisions, and you made sure that she got home safely. Her friend pushing you and cursing at you was completely out of line. You have every right to ban someone from your house if they treat you with disrespect. Your wife's friends can be mad all they want, but they weren't the ones who had to take care of her all night." OP replies, "I'm just concerned about my wife and her safety and our lives. I don't care about anything else. I know my wife, and I know how much she drinks, and I'm trying to do what's best for her. I'm not sure what these Redditors are thinking. They think I'm controlling every action of my wife's? Like she has to ask for my permission for everything she has to do? No, but when it comes to alcohol, my wife clearly can't handle it and take care of herself, so as her husband, I will do what must be done. It's addiction, and my wife is having a problem with it. My wife loves me, and that's why she's with me. God forbid a spouse tries to put a stop to intoxication and takes care of their spouse when they're intoxicated." I'll take OP's side for this one. I understand why people think he's controlling in this instance, but she is suffering from alcoholism. OP wants her to be better. She wants to be better by the sounds of it. Her friends took advantage of that. Her friends then assaulted and demeaned OP in front of everyone else when he was just trying to get to his wife, get her back home, and help her. Yeah, if I'm in that situation, I'm going to be royally pissed off. I'm not going to want those friends back at my house. Those are not friends, those are enablers. I think OP needs support in this time, more so than being shouted at by people that don't see where he's coming from, maybe because he didn't provide enough context and information in his post that would help people be more empathetic of his position. I'm going not the asshole. And now, onto the updates. First off, I want to thank everyone for their helpful advice, and I didn't even realize that my post blew up and that I got 6,000 comments on my post. I stopped reading and started focusing on my wife and her health instead. When I logged back in, I read a lot of the comments. Obviously, I couldn't go through all of them, so to clarify, yes, when it comes to drinking, I'm a bit controlling. I keep my eyes on her and make sure she doesn't overdrink, and I won't let her grab a cab when she's drunk. I'm not sure why some people were upset that I didn't let my drunk wife grab a cab alone back home and picked her up instead. Even if I'm at work when she calls me, I'll leave work and go drive her home. It's not codependency. I'm just taking care of my wife when she's vulnerable. If she's sober, I obviously have no need to go through all of this. I'm not her father, I'm her husband, and I feel like it's my responsibility to help and take care of her when she's drunk. I told my wife that she's been drinking way too much. The amount of alcohol she consumes driving to social events is obnoxious, and even on a daily basis. I told her that after I brought her back from her friend's home, she drank only a shot a day when I was present, but when I wasn't with her, did she drink even more? I would never know. I told her that I want to help her and that I don't want to lose her, but I also don't want to clean her puke off the floor all the time, and your friends actually encourage you to drink more instead of stopping you, and when I tried to pick you up like I always do, your friends pushed me. She said she didn't realize that she was causing me so much trouble and she's going to stop drinking. I told her that drinking is fine as long as it's occasional and in moderation. Since then, my wife didn't drink much. She drank yesterday after almost a week, but didn't go overboard, and she said that she'll seek a counselor and seek medical treatment if she can't control herself. Am I controlling? Yeah, I guess, but only when it comes to alcohol. Even I didn't realize that my wife is getting addicted or is already addicted, and like others commented, that I can't forcefully help my wife and she'll start blaming me, etc. I still don't want to give up on my love. I love her, and I know that she loves me. She confesses her love to me in even more embarrassing ways than just hugging me and repeating, "my husband." I'm not a professional, but I'm currently making my wife exercise and make sure that she takes enough multivitamins. In the comments, quote, she said she didn't realize that she was causing me so much trouble and she's going to stop drinking. I told her that drinking is fine as long as it's occasional and in moderation. I don't think that you are understanding of how alcoholism works. Occasional and in moderation doesn't exist for addicts. Their issue is that they can't stop after 1 to 2. They either don't drink or they drink until they black out or pass out. I appreciate you not wanting to be controlling, but in this case, it's absolutely okay to say no alcohol, period. It'd be better for her. OP says, I hate to say it, but not being able to stop oneself sounds so much like what my wife does. Another commenter says, we don't know enough to say this is what she does though. I think the person with her every day is much better at making a judgment. She definitely has an issue with alcohol, but I would hold up on claiming that she's already addicted. Some people just never learn that you don't have to go from 0 to 100 every time, especially when they first start drinking. It also doesn't help if you're partying with friends who also do the same. OP replies, for now, my wife has gone for days without alcohol, and I felt like she's not a full-blown addict like other alcoholics. She told me that she would seek professional help if she fails to control herself from drinking. Now, I don't know if she drank behind my back and kept it hidden from me. Maybe I should tell her to seek counseling anyway to find out what's bothering her and why she's drinking, just to be safe. OP responds to clarify the facts on taking care of his wife like a father, not her husband. I didn't write this post after so many days because people called me the asshole, and I don't care if online strangers think I'm an asshole and hate me because at the end of the day, neither of us know each other, and for me, the only thing that matters is my wife and her alcohol problem. I didn't mention the details about my wife and her alcohol relation because my post was about her friend and banning her because she pushed me. I did, however, talk about it in the replies. But after reading multiple women sharing their experience similar to my wife, I started focusing on my wife instead. And no, I'm not taking care of my wife like her dad. I'm taking care of my wife like she's sick because this unhealthy lifestyle is a sickness, at least in my eyes. If I'm sick and struggling with substances, I pray to God my wife will take care of me and baby me until I recover. As a partner, it's your responsibility to help your partner when they are sick. Maybe you don't agree with that and that's okay, but I will make sure to do whatever is necessary to keep my wife healthy and safe. And yeah, you're right about the controlling part. I agree that I'm controlling when it comes to alcohol. I would rather be a bit controlling than lose her forever. Odd Comfortable says, I don't think she's an addict like other addicts. Says every single person who has loved an addict. What do you call an alcoholic that hasn't drunk for a week? An alcoholic. My cousin could not drink for months at a time, and then he'd go on a life-ruining bender and disappear for a week and not be sober for a year after it. My uncle rarely got drunk that you'd notice, but he had to have a couple of maintenance shots to level himself out every day. Alcoholism expresses differently in different people. The fact they would rather have alcohol than anything else good in their life is the telltale symptom. The thing about addiction is that no one wants to be an addict alone, and they feed on each other's addiction. Anyone who tries to break the habit is a problem. This one falls a bit out of my jurisdiction. I personally think that OP is handling the situation as best they can. It's not easy living with an addict. I really do think that. His wife has a very big alcohol addiction. This is not small peanuts. These are very big peanuts. I feel for the guy. I really do. I see why people jumped down his throat so hard in the first one, because they're like, controlling husband, that's no good. But if they were in his shoes, would they not want their partner to get better and to break the addiction if at all possible? I don't think he has too many options in this situation. Like, he either accepts her for who she is, tries to help her, or enables her and doesn't control her behaviors at all. And then that eventually would lead to their separation because you can't live with someone like that. I'm sure there's other ways that situation could go, but those to me are the most likely. And that just breaks my heart. I commend OP to come into the internet for answers, for help, for anything. And I really do hope that the advice he got from people helps him help her at least a little more. Thank you for the story, OP. Good luck.